got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come be live every weeknight at midnight Eastern and talk about guns, but maybe not tonight. So we'll see who all shows up tonight. Looks like we got a couple of people out there already. HES was the first one to show up. First oldest person to show up. Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure what he's saying. Chris out there steadily. All right, so we're going to see who shows up tonight. I sent out a couple of links. And like usual, I had a bunch of stuff I was thinking about doing. I was going to do this, and now I'm going to not do this at all. And instead, I'm going to go back to doing a gun shop, I think, because I'm sick of doing other things today. And we're going to start out the show with this. So I'm going to screen share. We'll see who else shows up, and we'll start with this. Got that from the Canadian gun vault today. Pretty sure that guy's in COP in Canada. I didn't notice that one before. Let me dig around Instagram a little bit. I think I'm logged into gun websites this time, so it won't be as weird of stuff that I'm connected to here. Help prevent the spread. Latest information about FE. So there's Muscle Dog. He's drinking booze. It's snow. It's snowing. It could be sand, or it could be the floor, I guess. I don't think he watches the show. That's about it. Nice. So if you push your scroll wheel, you get this little thing opens up, and wherever you click on it, that becomes the place. So if you go down from it, it'll start to scroll down. And if you go up from it, it'll scroll up. And as long as it stays that little dot on top of an arrow, it's in that mode. And the further down you pull it, if you pull it down, it'll go down faster. And only people that show off their Spider codes, but I don't care if they're liner locks. This one looks like a liner lock. That's not really showing off. Is it really showing off if it's a liner lock? There's Clover and the Texas thing I made. See, this is how I jammed up the machine when I was doing, I don't think it was Texas. I think it was a fucking Oklahoma. But doing this corner is I don't know how to sew, so I was doing like this corner or like that corner, and that's where I jammed up the machine. Where'd you get that from? This is one of the problems, is that California gun shows are being postponed. This is Sporting Systems, that gun shop up there that in Washington State that does all the 1639 efforts. I don't know about booze, so I don't know what this is about. That's a nice mirror suit. This is probably Kalash Bash. Maybe. I don't know what that's about. This is that Fort Thompson in Little Rock. Like you need to go out and slaughter a shit ton of birds from Canada. That's how you do it. What's this all about? Anybody else follow Bruce Lee? The Bruce Lee family, basically. That's some weird pants. That's some tattooist. Here's that picture again. Let's stop and take a look at this puppy and these horses. And I think this one's important today, or it was applicable for today, because today is Canine Veterans Day. So just run up to a police dog and pet him because it's Canine Veterans Day. That's appropriate. You won't get bit. So all those service dogs getting recognition today, as one of the posts I saw, maybe we'll see it in here, said like those who truly serve without any self-interest, right? Anyway, so because it's that day, I started digging into like where'd that holiday come from, because that's interesting, right? Holidays are holidays, but who's pushed for it? Like, why is it a holiday? Somebody decided, let's make this a holiday, and then petitioned for it, and a bunch of other people said okay, and then it was decided to be a holiday, right? So I was wondering where that came from, and it comes from a Vietnam dog handler who petitioned for it, and when he died in 2009, it became the national holiday, and now his wife is putting in effort to get the states to recognize it. And when I started digging into it, I learned about Bobby's Law. Dang, I can't remember. I think it's Bobby's Law or Joey's Law, and that's the law that changed the way that dogs are dealt with, surplus dogs, and that was one thing Clinton did. That was in 2000, and since then, service dogs aren't just put down at the end of their service life, which isn't the end of their life, that's the end of their useful life, and now they can be, well, they are surplus, so that means given other people that are sold or whatever, surplused out, and so they can live a life. There's anyway, so that's why we added that to the thing, to the calendar and whatnot. And what's interesting is the dogs get all the attention, but horses are also in that mix. So military horses would just get put down. They felt there was nobody wanted them after. So in 2000, that Joey's Law or whatever affected both horses and dogs, all animals by military police, I guess. So technically other things too, but those two, and that would be, I figure, appropriate. Oh, look, there it is again. It would be appropriate for today because it's actually horses and dogs that were Joey's Law, although I don't think Canine Veterans Day is for both horses and dogs. Why am I following Mossberg? I don't know if anybody watching We the Female. So in Bartlett, Chicago, so I guess Bartlett, Illinois, they're saying that domestic violence cases will just be handled over the phone because of the virus. They don't want to send police out. They're only going to be responding to high priority calls, and low priority calls, they're not going to come out. Battery or domestic related incident either in progress or where the offender is still on the scene. So if they're still there, there, is that better? I don't care. I'm not doing this as a show though. I'm just doing it. I'm killing time to see if anybody's going to show up. And I never know if this microphone works. And I don't like talking right into it like this because this seems weird. I'm touching it with my mouth. I didn't feel like trying to find the spot at Walmart. Oh, you mean trying to go to Walmart today? All right, there you go. So now, anyway, so this is in Illinois where they said that they're not going to go out to domestic incidents in progress, or only if they're in progress or if the person is still there. So if the person leaves, and their answer to that was basically like, so the guy goes out and gets even more drunk, or the chick goes out with her friends and gets even more drunk, and then comes back and is even, even more mean or violent. This is about Oprah. I don't know what's up with that. Now, these people had an interesting post today. It doesn't say which gun show, but look at this gun show. Warner Coliseum. They go to Tulsa, so maybe they're in Oklahoma or somewhere. So that was interesting. Sad to see that a show is going to be empty. It's kind of neat. I followed this place because they make nylon stuff and they make it as tools, but then look at that, I opened a new window. Smart. So they make stuff tools, but they also make some tactical stuff, and I just like their tools. Like they make interesting tool belts and stuff. Back when I actually worked, I used to go back and forth. I don't know who else works with tools and whether or not you like a tool belt. I grew up with tool belts, and I never thought twice. Like you had something like this on an old army belt, and that was what you carried. If you're going up a hill, or up a ladder, or up like down a hole or something, you'd take your shit on the tool belt. And sometimes you wore it like a tool belt, and sometimes you threw it over your shoulder. But anyway, so I've gone back and forth. Then when I started working, I tried different things. I never tried this. I think this would be a neat thing. I don't think that's a video, but this is sort of a neat roll-up type of a modular kit. But I did have this sort of briefcase thing that I liked. It was equivalent to this. This is, like I say, a different form factor, but I carried equivalently. I was doing air conditioning. I'd walk into a restaurant. I didn't know if I was going to work on air conditioning or electric or plumbing or what the hell I was going to do. So I just brought like general tools with me as I walked in, and I went back and forth because walking around with a belt isn't quite enough for some things, and too much stuff is just overkill and a waste of time, and it just bothers people, especially if they were busy, if they were doing something in the restaurant, right, like in the middle of a rush or something. So it was always like a debate for me which way to carry my tools around. So I really like this feed because, well, these guys are a lot of like construction dudes making frames and drywall and stupid shit. So they wear these vests with a bunch of nails and screws and shit. I never done that kind of shit since I was a little kid. So the vests don't interest me that much. But for other things, the vests interest me. But all the rest of this stuff, I really like this. And I've watched this company now for, I don't even know how many years. I don't own any of their shit. They don't pay me nothing. I just watch their feed. I've asked them to give me stuff. I was hoping that they would help me outfit the van with like custom nylon stuff or some sort of modular shit, because I'd love to have the van stuff and cool nylon stuff like this instead of the dumb toolboxes I got it in. And all their stuff's made in Illinois, or USA. I think they're in Illinois. At least they have a stop in Illinois. They might be somewhere else also. Anyway, so that's a pretty cool shot. I don't know if anybody out here is talking about that. HVS doesn't have any tools. He's too old to have tools. Tool vests have become the new tool belt. Like I said, it depends on what you're doing. I've done stuff where a vest would not have worked. Like I wouldn't have wanted to wear a vest on the roof in Arizona working on air conditioning. Fuck no, I'm not putting no vest on. It's bad enough having to go up there with clothes on, on the roof of a place. And then it would have just got gross. Like I couldn't have walked in with a vest that got, if you're rolling around on your back or up on top of something, underneath of something, on a gross ass pigeon poop roof, and then you come down in to see what it's like on the inside. You can't walk through a restaurant like that with that gross ass shit on you. Like that wouldn't work. Not for me. Like I say, if you're walking in and all you got to do is pick up some nice tools out of the back of your truck and walk up to a big concrete slab and turn it into a house. It's easy. Nobody cares what you're doing. Yeah, and I could totally see a vest. Like this, like an apron for cooking and shit. Like, yeah, of course. But sometimes I'll watch these people with vests on and I'm like, you've just never tried that shit without a vest. Like this guy wouldn't want no vest, right? Working underneath of something. And I think they made pants for a minute too. I don't know if they still make them or not. Put too much to put on my belt. The mill I'm running now, it's like 15,000 pounds. Yeah, okay, I guess that would be too much. Oh, snap. Oh, I thought you meant you took one pallet of TP home from the warehouse. I gotcha. That sucks. St. Paul, Minnesota, gun show. I would like to go to a gun show up there. I bet you that'd be an interesting mix of stuff because they got a lot of different kind of hunting up there. Yeah, see? So old you can't remember where you put your tools. Let's see. Yeah, well, I guess it depends on what you're doing too. And like I say, if I when I was a little kid, they did framing and stuff, and I stood around acting like I knew what I was doing with framing. Mostly, I just dragged stuff to people. But I could totally see how one of these vests, because they can hang all their tools and shit on it. Like I could see that being useful, especially for like when you're coming in to just finish stuff up and you're kind of walking in and you don't know if you're going to be patching this or cutting that or poking this. Like I could see that being useful for that kind of gig. I thought it was the coolest shit ever. First off, it took a while before I got a good cordless drill. Like I never had a good cordless drill until my last job. And because cordless drills sucked until then. There was no cordless drills. So then the first time I ever had a good cordless drill at work, like I didn't pay for it, right? Work paid for it. I was like, okay, now I know cordless drills are good. So whenever I moved into this house, I bought a cordless drill. And then that's when I quit like work. I started doing internet shit and didn't work with my hands. I worked with my fingertips and quit working. And at that point, one time I went to some place like a surplus tool shop probably, or maybe a gun show, probably a surplus tool shop or maybe a thrift shop. Anyway, I found a holster for a cordless drill. I'm trying to find one now. I mean, most of these guys carry them. And now it's not even that big a deal. But I thought that was the coolest shit ever to get a holster for my cordless drill. Like it almost made me want to go work again to like be able to carry around a cordless drill in a holster. None of these guys are going to have it, of course, now that I'm talking about it. This I've seen for gun stuff, like basically the same concept except for gun stuff. I think it'd be cool to do the sides of the vans in some sort of Molly-ish type of situation, and maybe eyelets or something. Attachment points though, and then just have these different toolkits that slap up against the side. There must be a reason why they don't do that already. Maybe it's too much wear and tear on the new one. All right, that's enough tool belts. Anyway, I thought it was cool that they're doing quivers now. I mean, it makes sense, right? It can't be that hard to make a quiver. I'm just eating soup from now on, and then you don't need nothing. You just eat soup, and you know what I'm saying. Let's see. NRA convention canceled. They did cancel Wanamaker now. Let's see. Oh, wait. Let's just go to this shuffle. What happened? Let's see. Let's see. You'd be sitting on a gold mine if you took home a pallet. Yep. Bought a new Craftsman gunmetal metric wrench set last week. Nobody would want that. You're not going to use it for nothing. Lithium made cordless explode in popularity. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was made out of plywood, and it was all, I never finished it, so it swolled whenever it got wet. Eating stew. There's Yankee with his payola, his hat, good hat, free hat. I don't know what this is all about. We blog to learn more about what we know. Visit our blog to learn more about what the ATF is doing. So let's go learn what the ATF is doing about forms. News, I guess. Yep. So as you're aware, the coronavirus, which is COVID-19, if you're not racist, is disrupting nearly every facet of society. Every facet. This morning, Asa spoke with our contacts at Active to get you the facts about the potential impact on coronavirus and NAFA processing times. Here's what they know. NFA division is operating as normal. At this time, West Virginia, where the NFA is located, has no confirmed cases of the COVID-19, the non-racists. NFA division is assessing their current remote work operations. They are identifying which staff will be able to work remotely and are taking the necessary steps to ensure that the transition to remote processing could be as seamless as possible. So does that scare anybody that they're going to shove your personal information to an employee of the government at their home? It's kind of stuff that we wanted to put Hillary in jail for. But okay. Should remote work become necessary, NFA division will do their best to minimize disruptions and continue processing transfers as accurately and efficiently as possible. For those of you who recall the government shutdown in early 19, any COVID-19 related disruptions will be far less impactful. So they already know the future, and it'll be less impactful than something that you don't remember that happened last week. ASA commends ATIF for being proactive in their approach to the COVID-19. We will continue to monitor the situation and provide relevant factual updates as they become available. Where are we at? You're eating your stew? Yeah. Steak and mixed veggies. Blech. Covfefe 19? Logic dictates that trash bag hoarding will be next since they're just like kind of, well, I don't know. There'll definitely be something, that people jump to next, and then the media. What's happened to the skeptics where as soon as everybody's being told to look in a direction, look over here. Like, who's the ones that look over there? Not over here, but, look the opposite direction. Look where they're not waving the shiny thing around. That's what I'm concerned about. Can you hear the background noise at all, or the background music at all now? "28 days later." So, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's not going to be, well, the music is still going. It's just not loud enough, I guess. I'm going to try turning it. Oops. Uh-oh. Here. I like the background music. And it feels like we're in an elevator. Probably. Anybody see the or listen to the what do you call it? Announcement or whatever? It's not a speech, what do they call it? Like the press conference today? Gary's showing off a bunch of empty shelves at a Dollar General. It took a while for our Dollar Generals and little dollar stores to go crazy, or the crazy people to reach the dollar stores. Maybe that's what I said. Look how much toilet paper is right there. Look at this one. It's called Facial Quality. What the fuck? Facial Quality toilet paper. Somebody's like, we need to bring up their face. That'll sell more toilet paper. There's a gun shop that is open. This is Range in Fort Worth. At least the ones I've seen are in Fort Worth. I think there's like 3 or 4 or 5 of them even. This is that video of the gun show that's empty. This is about the size of the Prescott gun show. This actually looks a lot like the Prescott gun show, except for that big thing in the middle isn't there. And the Prescott gun show, it's a hockey theater or whatever they're called. So it has a big glass like wall around it. Oh, this might be hockey also. I don't know. But anyway, it has like, if the wall is lower and there's a big glass wall around it. This is one of the country clubs up in Denver. Wearing that Brownells vest. That's where I'd get rid of that Brownells apron that looks all delicate and wimpy. Get one of them ones from Atlas. Main Comps up here in Arizona. They make wicked modifications to shotguns. Nah, I listened to a thing that said that it couldn't have, that they can fingerprint these things and that it had to come, they could tell when it jumped from whatever critter it jumped from. What do we got here? This is Crump with one of them mag loaders. Does anybody have one of these wooden mag loaders? You would think that would just be a plan that's out there with a router, right? I know. Not like it's, you wouldn't even really need a router plan, but you could do it faster if somebody put the plan out there. But that's got to be a thing that's doable. So Ed, dude on that we talked about before, he posted this thing where you take a cup of noodles and you smash that up, and you smash up the Doritos, and you roll that together in enough water to make it into like a tamale type of thing, and then you stick that on you melt some butter or whatever, and you cook that tamale thing in butter. I don't know if that sounds that good to me. It mutated 3 times, which makes it weaponized bioagent. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but I'll have to listen more, I guess. This is from Soldier Systems, something from a movie, I guess. Eagle's Nest? Or Where Eagles Dare. Okay. Yeah, we're making fun of 22s, I think. I don't think he likes this guy. I don't know what this is all about. I think they give you fortune cookies. Well, I was just one of the few people who's poking people for freaking out. And then this is one of Ed's other things. He's talked about this before, and I've thought about trying it just to try it, although it's not a no-brainer for me. Portions of it are. So his deal is to take granola bars or granola, honey, and peanut butter, mix that together. Okay. And then he says mix in some instant coffee. And that's the part that I got to check out and want to see. Because that could be good. I don't know. I don't know what this soup is all about. It's some kind of soup and rice, I guess. I was actually going to do some, on my list of shit. I got this small list of shit I want to do. And on that list somewhere is, I was going to do something that said, like, this is the stat. Like, this is the, what's the word? Like, this is the baseline. I saw a meme about this, and it was too weird for me, so I was going to do my own version of it. And basically, like, show a couple of, like, what some people consider to be, like, the baseline, like, what they think, if everything fell apart, this is what it would fall to. And I think some people think if everything fell apart, it would look like the 50s or something. They think that like our televisions would turn to black and white, but there would still be television. Like, we'd have to call Uber or, Amazon Eats, except with a dial-up phone. Like, they just think a crazy idea of what shit would result to. And I think that's where they have a little more willingness to give things up, because they don't realize that there's no safety net. It gets really bad really quick, right? Just sent Honda a message on Patreon for a big TP chat conspiracy. What's that? Honda freaking corking me? Is that what you're saying? Cork by here. Nope. Just budget. I was watching One Bad Marine earlier today. He was doing a video about his 3D printing hobby and chatting with some people. I think he's helping this company who makes 3D printers and get their printers out and calibrated. And anyway, I was asking him how much a 3D printer costs, and he said these ones that he recommends as a good intro printer now are like $300 something, $300, $400. He's like, but if you buy one directly from China and then wait for the shipping, then it's more like $175. So I'm waiting for that. Definitely that kind of savings. So whenever everybody's done being sick with the light beer viruses, I'm going to think about that whenever I got a chance to start buying machines again. That sounds pretty cool. He had built some really neat stuff. He made like a little blade holder for like a razor blade. So basically, like a cheap knife, basically, but it's actually a usable gizmo. That's, most people, unless they're making like a knob or our friend he's constantly making like little pieces that help the printer. He's always making like little knobs and levers and little screwy things to make his printer better. And that's what Marine's doing also. So that's clever and it's neat, but what the hell's that help the world? I don't care if your printer works better, make me something. So they made some little knife, and I thought that was let's see. Irish USMC vet talked about it. It has been. Oh, what are we talking about? Oh, you're talking about this part. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to dismiss, because I still don't care if it was intentional or if it wasn't. If an enemy can watch you run around like a fucking idiot, then you're a fucking idiot, right? You don't be stupid in front of people. And I think we're being stupid in front of people because we don't pay attention to the fact that some people want to kill us. Some people would love to see us bleed out. And if we're going to go around stabbing ourselves, why would they ever stop us? They're going to give us more sharp shit, right? I've seen One Bad Marine has started doing shows again. Heck yeah, it is. And he's definitely digging that 3D printing. He's definitely, digging into that as much as he ever dug into helping out on dungeons and stuff, which was a lot. Digging into live chats and stuff. He's cooking right along with the new StreamYard now. Sorry, stupid ass duck. The duck is yelling at me today that I'm running out this account. It's like the third account this month that I've run up. So I've done 60 hours of chatting in the last however long it's been that they yell at you. Stupid duck. Stupid Canadians mad at me for abusing their system. It would look like the 95. No, I don't think it would look like the 95. I think it would look like the Dust Bowl. I think there'd be a bunch of people trying to make sawdust cakes. But I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it can't get that bad. Let's see. He said if there's 3 mutations, that indicates design. Oh, that's interesting. And again, I'm not going to suggest shit. I'm only hearing stuff from people who say they're so important. And then I'm skeptical. The guy I was listening to, that Honda and them made me listen to get paranoid, like the first words out of his mouth were, see, I'm right. See, this, I said this years ago. So he's got an agenda to justify his theory. And he's not going to be able to justify that theory 3 years from now. He can't go, oh, remember how 3 years ago I was wrong about something? He's never going to be able to, be proud of that. He has to say that it's conclusion of his idea, of his theory, and he has to say that now. Founder of Alibaba, the billionaire guy, sent 500,000 COVID tests and 1 million face masks. Right on. course, they're all from China, so people are going to be like, I don't want to use this. That's how they're going to say it. I need a Chinese billionaire, like a female Chinese billionaire to be my sugar mama. I could make do on $100,000 a month. I'm willing to make do on that. So we got this from Tactical Photographer. Let's see. With so much going on right now, we can't let the pressure. Gun grabbers don't take these days off immediately. So we're hoping people will stop that ammo ban in California that's being attempted. And that's my fear, is that everybody's going to be so concerned about talking about this stuff, and everybody's defaulting to talk about news of the day, right? What are they doing to us? So Hosh is also is not alarmist, or what he's thinking. He's not even panicking. Boom, there it is. Today we honor those who truly know and live the very meaning of selfless service. I only saw 2 or 3 places do Canine Veterans Day today. Tronic, which is this doggy here. He's a cop dog, I think. Or no, he's a cop dog in Texas. And then Warrior Dogs, who are they don't rescue, they just foster, I guess. They take and then place veteran dogs, working dogs. And then the Army. I think the U.S. Army posted something about Canine Day today, too. So what's up, Air Force? What's up, Marines? What's up, other branches? Why aren't you posting it? I think I'm following all of them. Nah, probably not. All right. So this is, wow, we've been looking at Instagram for like 30 minutes probably. There we go. Warrior Dog posted this one. And this is a bunch of their pups. So they, because look how young these pups are when they come out of military service. They still got a long time to go. And sometimes their handlers can take them. Sometimes their handlers are still working, right, with other dogs and stuff or doing something else. So sometimes that's not a thing. Sometimes their handlers ain't here no more. Right, and then sometimes it just doesn't work out. So then some of these get placed, I think, and then others are just going to live their time out with the Warrior Dog Foundation in Texas. There, that's Mike Wood, Mike Midland. So anyways, Warrior Dog Foundation. Big Sandy got canceled, which sucks. It's a big machine gun shootout in the desert where none of us ever mouth kiss or touch each other or nothing. So I don't know why they'll have to cancel it. There's plenty of gunpowder going off and shit to sterilize the air. Unless this year they were planning on doing a whole bunch of like mouth kisses events or something. So far it looks like the Clash batch is still going. That's the weirdest thing ever. The gun, I mean. Let's see. And this is talking about how they're not going to allow fingerprinting in this county. So that's another unintended byproduct, right? Or unintended consequence is without fingerprinting, you don't get no CCW permits going through. Or NFA stuff, right? Okay, what's going on now? So let's see. Chinese billionaire. There we go. Let's see. China wants to attack USA by messing up TP allocation. I think it was a Chinese level bioweapons. I don't see that. I've heard of the concept that it's a bioweapon to take out old people. That would make sense, right? In a country like that where you got a whole bunch of old people that are wasting your time and all they remember is the old ways and they ain't helping nothing. So you get rid of them through sickness, and then all the regular people that aren't old yet, they get immune to it because they're healthy, right? So they just get it, and now they're immune to it. And now you got a nice, strong, healthy, middle-aged population that's, viable and useful and, aid to the country. And then it accidentally gets across the borders. People, order Chinese food. Let's say you're whatever country is next to China. What's a country that's next to China? Hong Kong. So somebody's in Hong Kong and they're like, let's order some Chinese food. And it comes from across the border. And let's say they were chopping up bat soup. And then somebody ordered egg roll. And then they made an egg roll right on the same counter that they were chopping up bat soup. That's how it happened. Now it's out of China. That guy eats that egg roll with bat soup all over it, gets on a plane right away, because that's what you do in Hong Kong a lot. It's tradition is to get an egg roll right before you jump on a plane to America. And he goes to Italy. He goes from Hong Kong straight to Italy. And in Italy, the tradition, the common practice is to go around kissing everybody on the mouth, on both sides of the mouth twice. So this guy's super friendly. He likes old people. He's in Italy. So he just starts kissing people. Now, Honda's over here freaking out. Let's see. I ordered a weighted blanket from Amazon. The box came, had made in China in large letters. I opened it and named it my Corona blanket. So what's a weighted blanket? Is that so that you can become stronger at night? Watching stray dog rescue videos, that's got to be horrible. I don't think I could handle that. Monday, the TP memes will be annoying. Yes. Although I have a couple in mind, so I will be adding to that pile that's sickening people. I want a millionaire Korean girl that owns a chain of liquor stores. All right. Same blanket while I'm watching this. All right. There's 3 out of 4 posts that are including toilet paper. Yep, exactly. And it's going to be the other way around. It'll be 7 out of 10, right? I don't know if they are mostly Procter & Gamble. I think it comes from a lot of places, I would assume. The little no-name brands aren't Procter & Gamble, right? Procter & Gamble might own the big brands, and I wouldn't be surprised if all of the problems we're seeing is because the big brands are, what do they call it, factory to shelf or something? Take out the old boomer voters. Boom, Bernie president. Interesting. Yeah. I think that there's something to the fact, too, of look, there's this disease and only government medicine could fix us. Refuse to acknowledge the conspiracy. There's no conspiracy. I refuse to acknowledge it. Say some articles that the virus attacks. Oh, they're saying it attacks men's virility. I don't know. There's actually a virus lab across the street from the market. Well, see, that's why I think people thought that originally. But then I seen some guy who says he's so good, and he said that he can tell exactly when it jumped. Like in November, it jumped from some critter into humans when they ate it. Bat soup. Now, eating an egg roll that you dip in bat soup is a whole different thing. And then sometimes if you got for old people where they can't eat a full egg roll, sometimes old people will take an egg roll and they'll chop it up into pieces and then they'll drop it into a bat soup so that it gets to be kind of mushy like cereal. And in China, they eat that for breakfast. It's called bat soup egg roll cereal. Just moved the Biodome from Logan's Run. I live next door to the Biosphere, so I don't have to do shit. You know what Biosphere is? I shouldn't tell you people, but you can't get here fast enough to do nothing about it. Oh, sorry, I live by Biosphere 2. Biosphere is the Earth. So Biosphere 2, though, is Spaceship Earth. Welcome to Biosphere 2. And this is, I could almost wing a bottle rocket at this place from where I'm at right now. And this is everything you ever need. You got a giant diaphragm right here where it's breathing. All the air inside is recycled from this diaphragm. It just goes through here, and all the plants turn the carbon dioxide back into oxygen, and then you breathe it out, and the plants grow from it. Nothing goes in, nothing comes out. So when you people get too bad, me and Muello are just going to go in there when it gets too horrible out here. So that's our fallback. And we'll just lock the door, not anybody in. We'll watch you, we'll watch from out these windows, see what goes on out here. But we'll be fine in there. Don't worry about us. That's biosphere 2, Tucson. Here, I'll tell you what it is right here. You got your tropical rainforest. You got your ocean. You got your savanna, a coastal fog desert. That's the south lung. I think that must mean there's some kind of east lung or a north lung. You got a technosphere, and that's where we'll run the new world from. Like when you people turn into zombies and run around all savages and stuff, we'll run the world from that technosphere. There's the Habitat kitchen. I'll let some of my sugar mamas come in and cook, I guess. And then, yeah, that's where we'll be. So we'll be able to, there's a lot of windows. We'll be able to see what's going on out here. And when it's safe again, we'll come out. So I don't have to worry about any biodome. I got the biosphere. Let's see. Coronavirus killed the gun. DOT Dale's website. I don't know what that is. What are you talking about? Did you get a link? You got a link in the email. In the email. He's probably afraid to open up the email. I don't know what you mean. Like something happened to that site or something? Maybe it's like, you know, if you kick your legs around at night, but you got a weighted blanket on, then you exercise, right? It's like exercise. Makes it harder to escape from. Oh, so it's weighted on the edges, or it's weighted on the whole thing like a lead blanket. I've got this lead blanket from, I bought it at a surplus place one time, and it's from, you know, like if you got in the olden days when you would go to the dentist and they would zap your mouth or whatever, and they'd put this big weighted lead blanket on you. I got one of them. Is it like that? Because the whole blanket is lead. I shouldn't say that around Dead Horse. He's going to get all pissed that I own an entire blanket made out of lead. I won't tell him that I also have gloves that are made out of lead. No bats in my hot and sour soup? You don't know what you're missing. Here's what you want to do. You want to take a 3-foot bat and you want to let that thing set in this, you want to kill it, and then let that thing set in the sun until its wings curl up a little bit. And then you want to crumble them wings up. You don't want to wash it or nothing because then you lose all the essence. So just crush those wing tips up into your soup. Delicious. And then, you know, you can do what you want with the center part of that bat, but the wing tips, when they get dried out, delicious. Does it have a carousel? No, we got a Technos knob or whatever it was. Elion is right. We need multiple rocks so this stuff doesn't whip us all at once. What do you mean? Like to be on multiple rocks? Yeah. But we could easily have the giant space station that show Valerian and the town of the tomorrow or something. That show is all about a big space station that gets so big it starts to screw with the Earth's rotation or something. So that's what we need, is a giant space station out there, I think. Space station's so big that water just sticks to it like gravity. If Arizona bans Red Dawn, they can't. They already tried banning ninjas, and whatever happened to that is we got rid of that law. So whenever they try banning something good, we get rid of that law. You'll have to take the people out of the biosphere. You'll knock it out of balance. No, you can have enough people in there. It's balanced right now. Like the people that run it for me are in there. And then what happens is when I decide to take over, they leave and I go in and I replace them. Me and Mello replace them. And then it's all balanced. It's like being on a seesaw. They're over there, you know, using the seesaw. When I come over, they step off and I step on. Is old and famous for putting all the gun deals from everyone in one place, right? But I'm saying, what happened to them? Restless leg. I don't have that. I was just thinking about how when you kick around your legs at night, right? Like just you move over or whatever. At least for me, I kick my blanket up out of the way and then move my legs around so that it's just me. I was thinking a shooting blanket, like those weighted corners so the wind don't blow. Oh snap! I never thought about that. But yeah, if you take a couple of maybe projectiles or some lead shot and fold the tip or the corners of your blanket or a sheet or something, and then have sew them in like a little empanada or like a little tortilla. Or wait, what would that be? What do you call it? Tortellini? Was that folded? Anyway, you'd fold it over the corners with a little piece of weight, and then zap that thing closed with staples or sewing it or gluing it even, and then you'd have the corners weighted. That's a good idea. You could do that to a tarp also. Yeah, but I'm saying what happened to it. Essentially like a lead blanket. It has really fast fine glass beads inside. Yeah, like so if somebody's pushing on you, like if you're sleeping underwater or under like a pillow of mercury, a cloud of mercury. Would a mercury cloud weigh more than a regular cloud? Don't go near backcountry. The tequila and agave plants are pollinated by vampire bats. Interesting. What app are we talking about? Oh, you're talking about the Gun Deals app? Oh, there's that. Okay, there we go. So with this one, when you're in, because if you can see my screen, when you're down here, I can't hear you, but I think you can hear me. And then whenever you click on the person, they come up, and then they're in here. Anyway, just FYI, because I only let 6 people in this one. Even though I think 10 people can fit down here, they only let 6 people up here.
Yeah, that gun.deals website, it used to just be like gundeals.com, and then it changed to gun.deals. But like that website's been around forever, and they would put all sorts of just like you could go post an ad on there if you wanted for like if you saw a good deal at Midway or whatever, you go over there and post it to share with all your buddies in the reloading section or the part section or the ammo or whatever it is, right? That has to do with gun stuff.
And well, I knew the guy that started that. Whenever we first started that, I was like still doing code, and I was like, "Hey, how are you doing this?" And we talked code for a little bit, and then we parted ways. Like it was back in the olden days. So I'm saying, you said that the coronavirus, did that guy get sick, or is that's got to be more than a person anymore? Is it?
No, I don't know. It's been down all day, and you get a message if you try. At least I do, saying like, "Hey, like someone might be trying to steal your information by going to this website." And I've never got that from there before, but I did the whole advanced thing and went past it anyway, and it's just like gone. Like
Okay,
that whole website. They had sponsors like Sportsman's, and there was actually Midway and stuff. There was actually like retailers that were advertising on there and posting their deals. But the cool thing about it is just regular people could, right?
No. And I wouldn't be too concerned if he hasn't made an announcement, or I think it might be an organization at this point. Like you say, it's been sold a couple of times or whatever. But the things that you're talking about would be normal. The way that it works, the way that it's built and set up, is it pulls feeds or whatever. The way that it pulls information from the internet. If it was broken and you went there, that's the message you'd get, because it would be indicative of a negative type of website, but it's really just what it looks like.
When I said coronavirus killed it, I'm thinking that there's so much panic buying going on right now because of this. So I was at a gun shop today, a big one, like a big retail gun shop store called Sportsman's Warehouse. I don't know if you have those in Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so you know what it is then if you've been there. So I went to Sportsman's Warehouse, right?
Way smaller than a Bass Pro. It's bigger than a Popular, bigger than an Academy. It's about the size of an Academy, a little bit bigger than an Academy, but smaller than a Bass Pro.
Yeah, exactly.
Canadian company. They've been around.
But they have a really good selection of guns and ammo and reloading. They're big enough to have like a real good selection of stuff and a lot of ammo. And they had limited all the ammo there to like 1 box of like whatever caliber per person, and they had limited the amount of guns somebody can buy to 2.
Well, that's
right, and like so they're limiting guns because like, and the line there was crazy. I bought stuff online and just went there to pick it up, and it took me an hour and a half just to pick up something I had bought online that I'd got the notification, was ready to pick up. Like I just waited in line for an hour and a half to walk up to a counter and give them my name. Like that's how packed the store was. It was unbelievable, the panic. Like I thought people were going to start fighting over 22 ammo like they were over toilet paper.
Well, I was going to say, and that's one of the companies, Sportsman's Warehouse again, not Sportsman's Guide, who is a company that supports us and supports others, and is a U.S. company out of St. Paul, Minnesota, who I know, I've met them, and they have supported us directly, and they're awesome company. Sportsman's Warehouse, similar name, they're a building, like they're a brick and mortar location where Sportsman's Guide is mostly, well, it is just a catalog location or catalog place. But anyway, just to differentiate them, Sportsman's Warehouse, we got one in Tucson, and they were a client of mine back in the old days. So I have worked for them before, back in the olden days of the internet, and they, when they were buying ad space on our systems, websites, and so I've worked with them a little bit. And I was going to say they're a cool company, even though they're Canadian and everything. The scare of Obama in 13, when all the shortages and the all the stuff that like Cheaper Than Dirt did. And then Dick's has done something similar since, and other stores like Sportsman's Warehouse never did none of that. They always have been steadfast 2A, even though they're Canadian. They've always had their guns, and they've always had everything for sale. But the problem is they have had the shortages the same as everybody else. So that's interesting that you say that they're rationing this fast, because I was going to say that they're not new to the whole like shortage and panic buy and ration system. Like they've been through that every time, and they've come through it pretty good.
You know how they have those huge gun racks in there, and there'll be like 5 guns deep? Yeah, right. And then they'll be super long along like the whole back wall, right, of just guns. Maybe 25% of what could fit on those racks of like long guns were actually on the racks.
But that's also Utah, right? Like you people are not like going to shy away from buying a gun whenever like, oh, it's windy, we better buy guns. Oh, it got cold. It got unordinarily cold today. Let's go buy guns. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, and the other thing is it's Utah, so it's not like they ever had just like a few guns on the rack. They've always been packed, right?
Oh yeah. I stopped at the gas station and got gas and went in and got a drink, and I was going to use the restroom, and the restroom was closed to coronavirus. Like, not even joking. That's the sign they had on the door, that like they've closed their public restroom because of this whole coronavirus thing. Like this stuff's getting out of hand, dude. Out of hand.
I hear you. I mean, I'm not going to disagree, but I'm not too concerned yet. I mean, it's not even to the level of craziness that we had after Y2, and not after 9/11. Because I drove around after 9/11. It was a different type of paranoia and freak out, but people were freaked out and huddling in, and there was shortages. But because it wasn't anyway, it was a little different. But yeah, I hear you. And well, I guess good on the store for staying open. And look at all those people that didn't mind going and waiting in line, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, like it is. I've never seen it. I don't remember it being this bad during 2013. To what I saw today, I don't.
That's interesting. So, and then 2013 was more of a, well, 2013 was just gun owners being paranoid, right? We knew that we need to be paranoid. Then a couple of our friends maybe knew to be paranoid, but a bunch of people who never wanted guns, they wouldn't care. So nowadays, anybody who wants to eat and poop is paying attention and is going to be paranoid, I guess. So it's just more people, right? Like more potential people.
Well, and sitting there like looking at some of the people who are like getting guns and stuff, and like a lot of those guys, like a lot of them look like they were like first time gun owners, first time gun buyers. They really did.
Okay. Do you get a lot of people working in California there?
Yep. Oh yeah, property's way cheaper and stuff here.
Okay. Yeah, so that's probably a part of it, right? Like the new people to the area didn't think to prep yet or haven't thought about it before. They're saying California, they're buying guns. Who said that? So they're saying California, they're buying guns.
Yeah, but they're already going to be dead because they have a 10-day wait before they get it or whatever. Like the coronavirus zombies are already going to hit before then.
I haven't been really paying attention to shit today until watching a little bit of Gary's show, watching Marine's show. He didn't say nothing about it. Did I even watch anything else? Maybe listening to the radio. I have a light switch, right? When I turn the light switch on in the bathroom, the lights go on, but then my what do you call it? My radio in there is plugged into a plug that goes on with the light. So when I go in there, the radio is on. Basically, is what I'm getting at. So if I go in the bathroom for something, then I hear the radio for a little while. So it might have been on the radio earlier that I heard it, but anyway, did you hear the? Well, I know I heard the president's. I guess you call it like public. What do they call it? Press release or whatever you call like the announcement that it's a public emergency or whatever it is, state of emergency. Did you listen to that at all, like verbatim?
No, I haven't like listened or watched anything, like no news or nothing. I haven't. I'm so far out of the loop. That's why I was so floored today, because I'd like heard bits and pieces of people like fighting over toilet paper and stuff, and toilet paper being out everywhere. My wife told me about that because she, like she does a lot of the shopping, and but I was completely floored by going to the gun shops today, and I was just floored. I don't remember it being like that in 2013, and I was one of the ones in 2013 out buying guns, buying ammo, like buying 22 ammo secondhand from price gougers. Right. Just because I was worried about stockpiling. Yeah, like I was one of those guys, and I don't remember it being this bad.
Well, it's tough to, like I say, there's differences, so it can't be the same, and it's not going to be the same. But anyway, I'm just saying that I know I listened to the president's thing, and I haven't listened to much else, but it does seem like his speech was pretty decent, and they said something that the stock market was down like the most it's ever been since 1930 yesterday. But then today, it made a rebound bigger than it's ever made. So that had the biggest spike ever, and then it had the biggest rebound ever. So equivalent of we're better than we started 3 days ago. But they got this news blurb of the economy tanked. So, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff isn't, I guess you can look at it like, oh, that's an indication of the end of the world. Or you can look at it that like, that's not normal. That's weird behavior. And it's because, either this is artificial or amplified or, people are adjusting. They don't know where to, they're just jumping from one extreme to the other, So, they think the world's ended, and now are they thinking that, oh, that was a mistake. So was it, before when it was Chris, somebody posted before that the Chinese issue is already calming, and it's going to take a minute for people to actually acknowledge that that's the case. And that's the thing, like you get the disease as a healthy person, and then you don't have it anymore. Now, was it you yesterday talking, or Bob yesterday, I guess, was talking about getting reinfected? But for the generally, unless it's a totally different situation, you get infected, you survive being sick, and then you're not infecting anyone anymore. And if that is in fact the case, then as that happens, you get a whole population of people that get it and are no longer transmitting it. So it basically effectively stops. And if that's, like, since that's the normal curve or wave of how these things work, like normally everybody.
I don't think it's as bad as what the media is spinning it. I saw a thing posted on Instagram that showed like stats of like H1N and swine flu and mad cow and just all these things that the bird disease, whatever that one was, and from China, and like they showed all these statistics, right? And like they were all worse than this thing is. Like even it didn't matter whether you looked at total number of deaths or if you looked at per 1,000 people. Like all those other ones were like higher death rates. So if those ones are like killing more people per 1,000, like and I don't remember them pushing any of those as much as this. So like that makes me wonder, why are they pushing this so much? Like what's the motive behind the media and everything, like pushing this whole, like it's so bad thing?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's really just a fill in the blank or pick which one you want to choose, because there's, I think, multiple.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. There's probably just nothing.
or something.
There's no other conspiracy things or celebrity scandals going on right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. Like nobody's going to jail right now for some horribly atrocious shit that so many people are involved in that if anyone actually took a second to make a movie about it or something to make people aware on a real scale, people would vomit, right? It's disgusting what's been going on and all that stuff. Every time it happens, there's this, look at it. Oh, it's a horrible thing. Look what's happening. And again, you can point to the rest of the world for damn sure. I'm not saying the rest of the world ain't being affected, but I guess what I'm saying is their whole thing, their whole strategy is based on don't let something go to waste, capitalize on every opportunity. And if something crazy is happening, they're going to do everything they can to capitalize, right? Anyhow, so I am noticing that people are being affected. So aside from the stuff that's happening online, are you noticing anybody in real life that's having issues or being affected at all?
I know that there's the people in the nursing and industry, and those are the people that I think are being affected.
No, I'm talking about people you actually know. Like I have been talking to people today because this is the first time.
Oh, that actually have that shit.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying they have it. I mean, if you know somebody that has it, I guess. But I'm just saying this is the first day that I've experienced people I know in real life calling and texting and like actually saying stuff about it. And I instigated some of it because once the first couple talked to me, I was like, I better check in on everybody and make sure everybody's okay, not freaking out. Nobody's freaking out, but a couple of them, like the one dude, his wife is getting laid off basically, and the one dude, he's not getting laid off, but they're anticipating less work for the places that they work for. So that means that their workforce is going to need less people. So they're already they're at the point where they're like, normally we have overtime. There's no overtime right now, but anybody that wants to only work 20 hours a week, that's not a problem. So they're doing that kind of thing. I'm wondering because that's the kind of stuff that obviously tomorrow they could go right back to overtime, but that's the kind of stuff that actually has consequence in the world, right? I know that they've shut down most of the schools, and my friends are saying that they haven't yet made online classes. They're just saying there's going to be online classes. So that just means the kids are sitting at home, I guess.
Yeah, they closed down the school here for I think 11 days from now. I think is when they plan on reopening. So not that long. So we got the email I think on earlier this week, but it opens back up I think on the 24th is when they're letting people back in.
Oh, okay. So it's not open ended. It's more of because it's got this kind of spread rate, we want to make sure nobody's unnecessarily standing next to each other during the main spread. So everybody stay home for a minute.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, and if they can just pretty much get shut down the whole country for just a week or two to stop it from spreading, that's what would work, right? If they can just limit the people.
I mean, I'm no expert on this, but it's just saying if the idea is to get all the adults to get it so that we quit transmitting it to each other, then you want to do business as usual and just let it spread, and then do your best to keep old people healthy and babies healthy. I mean, nobody wants to see.
Well, that's the thing though, is so you can get something like that and then think, okay, I'm over it. I don't have any side effects, but look at chicken pox, right? That can really come back and haunt you later in life, right? With shingles and all sorts of stuff.
But that's the point. Not if you've already had it, though.
Yeah, if you have it, if you've already had it once, right? It can come back and haunt you again later in life. No, so this stuff's so new, we don't know if it's going to come back around, right?
No, I think if you have chicken pox, it can't come back and get you.
No, it comes. It does. But it comes back as shingles and stuff. That's what chicken pox. That's you get chicken pox a second time almost basically when you get older, and that's shingles.
I thought that's the opposite. I thought it stops you from getting that shit.
No, it comes back around a second time, or it can. It doesn't for everyone, but it can. And there's several other things that can come back around like that later on. So that's what I would be worried about by getting it. Because once
if that's what if the fear is that, or if there's an indication that there's that angle to it, then of course there's going to be mad panic and everybody's going to freak out. And if it actually happens, then there's no stopping it. Everyone will get it and die. I mean, seriously, if you can get it and then re-get it, that would be different than any other disease that's ever happened. And it would be too much of a drastic change for our mammal systems to deal with, and we would all die from it. Right? I mean, eventually, because we would all get weak enough, we'd just keep getting it until we got weak enough to be susceptible to it. You know, if you might be healthy the first 10 times you get it, but if you keep getting it, you're not going to be healthy after 20 times of getting it. At some point, you're going to get it while you got it or some shit. But that would be it jumping and being a whole new thing that's never happened, and no one is suggesting that. In fact, everyone's suggesting it's barely different. Like it's still ice cream. It's just chocolate ice cream instead of strawberry ice cream. But it's not like it's even sherbet. It's still ice cream. So I really didn't want to talk about this tonight, but what the hell we're talking about? I guess.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I didn't.
This is the first time I've talked about it because, like, this is the first time I really kind of like saw, like, you know, what was going on out there. I had no clue. I just thought some stupid people were fighting over toilet paper. I had no idea about the guns and ammo flying off the shelf.
That's new. I haven't heard any of that either until you said it, because all I've heard of is people making sort of like a fun, or you know, like it's almost like a what the hell kind of thing about how it's just the toilet paper. And then maybe the last day or so people have said like, oh, it's more than just toilet paper. Oh, I was talking to my one friend and I was saying how I went to Big Lots yesterday, and they had, like, I could still get I like to get the generic paper towel and toilet paper because I'm not a girl. So I get the generic shit, the cheapest shit I can get. And they still, and you know, that's usually the first stuff to go, right? Especially when people are just hoarding, they're going to buy whatever's cheapest. So I could still get how many's a big one? 6 or 8 toilet or paper towels in a bundle or whatever, you know, for like $4. And then there was a shit ton of that. Like there was no shortage of that at all. And the only thing they were missing literally was the toilet paper. And I even took a picture because it's like right next to napkins and all the other paper. Yeah. And so I was telling him that, and he's like, well, no, they were at Costco, and at Costco, like every single paper item, like disposable paper item is gone. So I guess it has to eventually get to the next level, I suppose. But I think it started out as just people being fascinated that everybody was taking toilet paper and said, well, I'm going to take some too. What the fuck, I guess. Or they just, like I say, there's just not enough toilet paper to go around. We're just not used to seeing. And here's the thing. So I was going to say, I've been going to, first I rage panic bought last week or something, just because why not? Like it doesn't cost, I only spent $70 to get me enough food to last for a while. So I did that just because it'd be stupid not to while I could. And then I just happened to go to the store. Like I ran out of net milk. So I went to the store, I had to buy something. So I went to the Walmart, and then, so I've been monitoring the water and the whatever when I go to the store, and it's been normal. Like I say, there's been no difference at all in the stores here. But it's been 2 days since I went to a store. So now that you've said that, it's Friday. Maybe I'll go to like the Walmart tonight and see if the shelves are starting to be barren or whatever. If it's like panicking in Tucson yet.
Our Walmart's out of toilet paper and all that kind of stuff, and the napkins and the tissue, and yeah. It's it's like that bad, like even here, like, so I can't even imagine what a big city would be like right now. So like I don't know what's gonna happen.
Garrett's saying Costco lines from one end of the store to the other. That's what they're saying here, that the Costco lines were so long that they didn't have carts. Like you had to wait in line without a cart. There was like every single cart at the Costco was taken. But are they going in there and buying everything, or are they just going in there to buy the 1 or 2 items they're afraid of and then leaving? Because, an empty Costco is different.
This is what I'm thinking is like, so people don't know what's going on until they get low on toilet paper, and then they go to a store to get toilet paper, and they don't have any. And then they go to another store, and then they're like, oh, like they're out of toilet paper. Like maybe like nowhere has toilet paper, so maybe I should stock up on milk and eggs or whatever, and like some cereal or whatever food and canned food. And Maybe I should buy a gun to protect my valuable canned food and ammo. Like I think that's what's going on, and it all started with the toilet paper.
Well, and I think there's probably something to it of like, certain people, like I'm thinking like we were talking about before, like the ammo scare back in the day. People that aren't shooters aren't going to pay attention to an ammo scare. People that only barely have a shotgun in their closet and they use it once a year to go deer hunting or bird hunting or something aren't going to pay attention to 22 ammo. Even a dude who's like carrying every single day but only pays attention to, CCW stuff might not pay attention to 22 ammo at all. And then again, like hunters, long range, there's so many gun owners who wouldn't even pay attention to 22 ammo that when some of the gun owners are like, oh shit, 22 ammo is impossible to find. Or, some of them were like, what, the powder factory burned down? I'm going to go buy everything I can. And then, that first wave was probably the first ones. And then some people were like, wow, it's getting hard to find my 22 ammo. I'm going to buy some more next time I see it. And then by the time like hunters and CCW people get around to it, they're like, look, I don't even shoot 22, but I'm buying the shit out of 22. And then the rest of the world finds out about it. You know what I mean? In this case, who the hell doesn't wipe their butt? Like there's no transition this time around. It went from people who are like watching, I don't know, Rush Limbaugh or whoever these people are, Hannity. I don't know who the people are that tell you about, be paranoid. Like whoever Honda watches get told who to be afraid of, who to be mad at. Like those shows probably started talking about this first, I'm sure, right? Like they had to be the ones paying attention to what could happen first. And then those people started like going, oh shit, I'm going to go, even though I'm already fully stocked, that those people are already preppers. They probably went and bought extra toilet paper just to make sure. And then that started the whole thing. But I think it just went from 0 to 100 because so many people use toilet paper. What the hell? I mean, shit, I was at a point where, how fast does one dude use toilet paper, right? Like, I don't buy that shit but once a month or something. Maybe, right? Like, I was at a point where I had like 3 rolls or something, and I was like, not even in the mode of like thinking about toilet paper, but whenever Matt and Honda first started freaking out about this, I was like, well, I better buy a thing of toilet paper just in case. And I'm glad I did, because now, of course, it's impossible. Like 3 weeks later, it's impossible to find toilet paper anywhere.
I would just suggest that everywhere you go, ask for extra napkins. Like everywhere, everyone just ask for everyone listening to this. Just ask for extra napkins. Like every restaurant, like everywhere you go. Hey, can I get some extra napkins? Yep.
They should make something like the shells.
Oh,
this is the perfect time.
If you look on Amazon, like the toilet paper, my wife showed me, the toilet paper on Amazon was like something that would normally cost you like $12 for like 12 double rolls or something is like $50 on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Well, you got to expect that. I don't care about that. I mean, there's some people that freak out about that. But if you're going to be a dummy and you're going to wait to buy something, you're not smart. Like, I mean, if somebody's willing to buy it, then I'm not going to get mad if somebody wants to sell it. If it's the, only shop in town and the old lady comes in and you're trying to screw her over, I got more of a problem. But if it's online on Amazon, like somebody's buying that so that there's just as much chance somebody's buying that so that they can say they bought a $50 roll of toilet paper. You know what I mean? Then I doubt it's out of desperation or anything.
Oh yeah, I definitely think most of it's panic buying, right? Like most of it's just straight up panic. Like, yeah.
Oh no, you said that the bathroom was closed. Steadily saying go to McDonald's and take all the whatever. I bet you that's why they're closing bathrooms, because number one, they only got so much toilet paper to put out anyway, and it's those big giant rolls.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about the toilet paper thing and why the bathroom was closed. So that makes more sense.
As soon as there's no toilet paper, they can't really leave the bathroom open because that's messed up, right? That's messing with people. And I guess you could say like there's no toilet paper in the bathroom or paper towels, but basically I was just going to say not only worried about people stealing it, because I don't think too many people are going to bother with that, but you'd definitely be impossible. They're not going to put, if they can't get regular people's, what do you call commercial toilet paper? What you call this? Non-commercial toilet paper. there's no way they're making their commercial toilet paper right now, and
Yeah.
they're probably in the same boat as everybody. There's not giant warehouses of those commercial toilet paper tubes somewhere. I guess there could be, but anyway, so I bet you that's why the bathrooms are closed. Although I guess they could put up a sign that said, or put the stalls, close the stalls, let the urinals and the sinks be open. Now, I'm not going to suggest that every single toilet paper dispenser is like one of like 4 keys, depending on which company it is, and that you can basically open all of them with a coat hanger, or not a coat hanger, but like a bobby pin or something. Definitely with like some kind of little screwdrivery thing, and that you don't even have to like break the things to grab the toilet paper if you want. But that's something that I guess I don't anymore. But for a long time, when I worked in that kind of work, I carried the toilet paper keys, because there's like this one toilet paper key that actually can open like 3 different kind of brands, just sort of like this little keychain looking thing, and that can be handy when you're just out and about and like something's goofy with the toilet paper thing. It's handy to have a key that you can just open the thing and pull it out or fix it or whatever you need to do. Flip it to the other roll depending on what kind of little thing it is, and those things usually open up the paper towels, so you can do the same thing with paper towels. Most of the time you got the bathroom to yourself, so it's not even an issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just called like a janitorial key or something, a universal janitorial key. And I think Home Depot sells them online.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got mine from working, on those things all the time. I never even thought about it, but I'll bet you, yeah, exactly. I'll bet you somebody even makes one that, like you say, is just kind of a skeleton key or whatever they used to call it, pass key.
Yeah.
Because it's basically just getting through it. It's just so that you don't accidentally open it, or like so that some kid doesn't open it and make a mess. It's just like a basic lock. It's just 2 pieces of metal usually. All right, so I get free towels for life. I'm just saying. This would be the time to get into the bidet business too. Installing
No,
bidet.
no. We're just gonna go poop in the streets and use newspaper like China.
Like San Francisco.
Or yeah, like San Francisco too. It's just all we need is like newspapers and magazines and whatever, just whatever's around, and just the street. This is how America turns into a third world country. It starts with the toilet paper.
When we say like, I guess our generation, whatever, the older folks that can remember it had a Y2K, and it was a bunch of hype. It was a little different, obviously, because it was a bunch of anticipation, and then it was literally like a blink of an eye and it was over. Because like as soon as Y2K happened in your time zone, it was done and it was over. Then it was a sigh of relief, and everybody could then, make fun of everybody who actually thought it was something was going to happen or what. But with something like this, it's more like it's happening, and it's not like a blink of an eye. Who knows how long it's actually going to happen? But at some point, everybody's going to chill out about it. If it's anything like the dozens of other ones that have happened in the recent history, right? At some point, everyone will chill out a little bit. It won't be the main topic of conversation, and then something else will come up that dwarfs it, and then it's all but forgotten, right? And then occasionally you'll see a thing like, oh, another old person died, or oh, something else happened.
I was at the hospital twice this last week, and they have the hospital kind of quarantined. And as soon as you go in there, they have security guards like they have all the entrances of the hospital closed except for one now. There used to be like 4 different entrances you could go into, but now only the main entrance is open, and they have a bunch of security guards there. And the first thing they ask you when you walk in is, are you sick? Do you have any like cold symptoms or flu symptoms or anything?
Oh,
And
really?
if you have that, like, you put on them, they give you a mask, and you go to this like quarantine section of the hospital basically. So then you go see a doctor. And if you're just going there like for like your regular, just same day surgery stuff, right? Which is like what we've been doing. then you just go about your business and through the rest of the hospital. But yeah, they make you put on a mask and everything, and they have extra hand sanitizer things out everywhere, like pretty much in front of like every main door and elevator, and like the hand sanitizer is just everywhere on these little like portable poles, just like sticking out in the middle of the hallways everywhere. And so the hospital, and that's what I'm thinking about is like, you think about where are you going to go when you get sick? The hospital, right? And I hear about all these people taking like time off and we're shutting down our company for a week and we're laying, like, those doctors and nurses they're not shutting down. They're the ones, like fighting this, right? And like, quarantining people and treating people and saving people. Like they're not taking a week off for this thing to pass.
Well, I think what'll happen, again, if you look at any other thing that's ever happened, that's all I'm looking at is the other stuff that's ever happened, is the hospital people that are weak will die when they get it, because let's assume they're all going to get it. Then some of them will get it and be sick for however long, 4 days, a week, whatever, a couple of days, depending on their person and their constitution and their health, right? So they'll get it, and then they'll be no longer a carrier, and then they'll be sick, and they'll come back to work, and then business as usual again. And if there's a million other people with it, there they are, and they're not a carrier, and they're able to do their jobs. A couple of them that are old or broken or something will die, and if more of them die than in a normal year, then what is it, 3% instead of 1% will die, and that might be a burden to the ones remaining, especially if there's a whole bunch of other patients. But I don't see that as the end of all functioning. You know what I mean? That just makes it like a tight time and a tough time. But I just don't see it as dire, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you this: it makes you not want to go to the hospital for something like that's not important, like or super important.
Stitches or something. Like if I do this at home, it'll look bad. If I take it to the hospital, it'll get like nice stitches and it won't scar. But yeah, I'm not going to go to the hospital for something like that, right?
Yeah, like right now would be a time probably not to go to the hospital unless you have to, for like something, because it worries me, man. Because where's the place that you're probably most likely to catch it at is, probably a place where the people who are sick are going to,
Maybe I'm crazy, but like, let's say there's a disease and it's running around like a little suction cup monster, like it looks like, there's got to be people that have, unless I'm wrong, and it's exactly the same in everybody's got a version of it, and some of them are more and some of them are less, and when the wrong combination happens, it's a strong version of the virus and a weak person, then wham, they die. And when it's a strong person and a weak virus, not that much happens. And when it's an even match, the person's sick for a week. Or if it's something like that, then you go to a hospital, you got the chance of catching any version of that virus, or like the most viral, virulent, whatever the word is, of that virus, because it's like a fucking extract of all the people with the virus. Like you go out into the movie theater, you might get it from somebody, but what's the odds it's the worst possible version or the strongest type? You know what I mean? I don't know if it works that way, but it just seems like if it works that way, then I would think you go into a hospital, you're going to catch, like you're just asking for the worst of it, right? Or at least you're walking right into the worst of it, potentially. But I'm not a doctor. I don't know shit. So I'm just adding to the fear, I guess. Chris went to sleep. He's not afraid of sleeping in the time of COVID. I don't sleep anymore because I'm so afraid. So what I do now is Monsters all day, Starbucks all night.
Okay, instead of Monsters, you need to try the Bang energy drinks.
I never drank a Bang. I only drink, what are they actually?
The Bangs are healthier, dude, and they taste better.
I don't drink Monsters. I drink Monsters when I got money or if I'm driving around and I'm being fancy, because they got that one kind of Monster. Is it Monster? Yeah, the Monster that's like white and silver drawings, and it's a 0-calorie kind of one. It tastes sort of like Mountain Dew or 7-Up or something. I'll drink that one if I got money. But normally I drink Rock Stars because they cost me $1. And I don't know if they're good or not, but they work and they cost $1. So you're saying Bang? I think I've seen Bang at the store, at my dollar store, and they're big like a Monster. They're like them giant cans. So I'm all about that. I think they cost $2.99 instead of $1. But my problem is they're always like Tutti Frutti Punch or some shit, and I don't like I can't do Tutti Frutti flavors.
So they have all sorts of kind of more exotic,
No,
I guess,
I know.
flavors.
My
Yeah.
dollar store only gets like the shit versions that nobody else wants always.
I'm just saying, like, if you want something like for just like taste, like that actually just tastes good. Yeah,
Does
try
it is it zero
the
calories?
Star
I know
Blast.
those things when they're 0 calories, unless they're the chocolate milk kind.
These ones are all zero everything, 0 calories, zero sugar,
Okay.
zero
I don't-
artificial colors, zero carbs. They're a lot healthier than the Monsters or the Rockstars.
They still got the Tulene or whatever the hell, the T
Yeah,
one in
the
it.
creatine and the taurine, they still have all the good stuff for your brain and body and all that, but
Okay.
they don't have all the sugar and artificial flavor crap. And they just taste way better. And I like the Star Blast one. I'm just saying you should try one. Like they got some, yeah.
Like I said, I don't go out of my way. I haven't actually even drank one in a while. I quit drinking the coffee ones because of money, and then I bought a bunch of the white ones, whatever they're called. What it tastes like grapefruit juice, Mountain Dew, kind of. It tastes like a clear Mountain Dew, but and I just like that flavor for diet. Like other diets have an aftertaste to me, whatever that chemical is that they use to make it taste like a Mountain Dew. It kills the chemical taste in my mouth. But so it's sort of like a grapefruity taste. Anyway, I don't really like them that much. I like that I stay up for like 2 days after drinking one, but I just haven't been doing that. I haven't drank one now. I'm trying to think actually last time I drank one. So anyway, it's not like I drink them on a regular basis, but I will try a bang since you're saying that. Because I don't even care. I'll pay the $2.99 if it's a good one, especially if it's them giant cans. Because I'll drink that in like 3 sessions. I never even drink that whole can at one time usually.
I haven't tried one yet that I haven't liked, and the flavors I think just pop a lot more than the other ones, and just I don't know. It's different. I think they're a lot better.
I don't think that.
This is Bang. I mean, come on, Bang. Like,
Yeah, I think the main difference is the companies too. And I forget, like some of them, they're just like anything. Like they've got the one of them is one of them the guy from wrestling's son? It's the guy from somebody's son.
well, I know Bang does supports a couple of the I guess like 2A Instagram chicks or whatever. So
Well, and that's the other thing. Some of them are like coffee where they do support 2A stuff. So I'll check it out. And some of them, I know that some of them like you can get in the PX. So like Army Guys or something like the one, but that isn't because that company or anything. It's just because that's the one they can buy. It's like that's the one that gets sold there. That it's in front of them. So steadily saying they had a lady wiping down shopping carts at the store, and that they should do it every day. But I don't think they need to. That's the thing. Like.
they have at my store they have a little like hand cleaner towel moistet thing or whatever it is, right? Like a disinfectant wipe thing that's right by the carts. And if you want to, you grab that wipe and wipe off your own cart handle. And
Sure.
That's how my store set up.
But I think if they did do that, if like somehow we had little spray robots that would always take, like if we wore wrist sprayers or something, that every time we let go of something, it would spray so that everything was perfectly clean constantly, we would die, right? Like, wouldn't that make us so weak and feeble?
Well, here,
die as soon as somebody coughed on us?
okay, think about this, okay? So the corona, like they're really pressing the washing your hands thing, right? And not touching your face. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like they're really pressing that. So like we just barely recently, a little while back, like stopped doing antibacterial hand soap. Like, right?
Your family?
No, like the country did, like the FDA or whatever, right? Like everyone's switching over because they said that antibacterial hand soap makes us weaker to where like or like it makes us weaker because we don't get the germs, right?
Well, it makes the bacteria super strong too because
Yeah.
they constantly fight through that shit.
Yeah, it makes them strong and it makes us weaker. And basically, so that's why they stopped doing antibacterial soap. So I went to the dollar store and stocked up on a bunch of it, right?
I do remember because I know a bunch of people did the same thing. They're like, shit, we're not going to be able to buy this pretty soon.
So I bought a bunch of it. But think about it. All the antibacterial soap goes away, and then coronavirus hits. Just saying, like those of us who kept the antibacterial soap, but we know what was up.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where if everybody does it, we get screwed. So if a couple of people do it, it's not ideal, but it's better than everybody doing it, I guess. Because, like I say, then I think we got a real problem. Only because we create superbugs. Oh, so he's saying heart disease due to bad diet kills far more some people who won't exercise or panic buying. Yeah, but at least they ran to the store to buy toilet paper, so that's a good thing. Wonder if the future will be super clean where all it takes is for us to get wiped out. Is the polar caps melting away and like a bunch of old frozen coughs getting thawed out? I guess. CDC worst case scenario said 1.7 million? No way. I didn't hear anything about that ever. Certainly not in Trump's speech.
I think that was worldwide.
That's probably just the old people. And we write them off anyway. They're going to die anyway. You can die of other things than viruses, even in a pandemic. So you need ERs. Well, yeah, of course you need ERs. But they're already talking, oh, so you didn't listen. So Trump, right? And like I say, I was just going to the bathroom. Like, I'm pretty sure this was like, I was just going to the bathroom. Like I say, I turn the lights on and the radio comes on and Trump's in the middle of a Trump speech. So he was saying that, I get just the end of Trump, but he was basically saying how everything is there. He made it a state of emergency, and that opened up a bunch of this like $5 billion or something. But then he had Walmart, he had Walgreens, he had, I don't remember anymore, but a couple of other places who I've heard of, and then a bunch of people I never heard of who I guess make the tests or make mouth filters or do different things that people are afraid of, and had them all there. And basically Walmart's deal was they're like, we're going to make I guess they're already like, they're well underway, already created a way that you can just drive up and blow into something and you can figure out if you got it or not. So it's just going to be a drive up testing thing. And Walmart's going to let you do that in their parking lots. So they're going to figure out a way for Walmart parking lots to be the center for checking out if you got the disease or not. So how close is that to all the people that said Walmarts are going to be the containment facilities? Like they're going to go, we're just going to take all the, that
The
lawn and
FEMA
garden
camps.
section.
The
Yeah,
FEMA
FEMA
camps.
They're going to take that lawn and garden section and just say, okay, you can keep the dirt for like your food. You can like garden in there, but just scoot it all over. And now you live in that little fenced in area on the side of Walmart.
Oh my God, dude. I bet you this next week I watch a conspiracy video where like they're like, see, this is how the FEMA camps this is how they get you in there. You're infected.
I was just watching this really neat thing too about and this is probably why Google fed this to me, right? The AI fed this to me because it's trying to teach me. It's trying to give me the info. It's trying to matrix me. So the YouTube fed me this video about parking lots, and it knows I'm going to fucking watch this because it says, are parking lots good or something? So I click on it, and it's all about how parking lots are designed. Like there's no set parking lot law. Like it's all random to the city or the state or whatever, right? So most of them are designed for like Black Friday, I guess, or Christmas, the most times people would ever show up at the place. And that has to do with like how many people can fit in the stores that it's in front of, right? And then they do all this for like the most. And then what happens is, every other day of the year, no one's using that parking lot. So there's all these parking lots everywhere that are just sitting there. And now that you got Amazon and Uber and the plague, like nobody wants to go to the store anyway. So all these parking lots that were made for like, max capacity in the old days are never even being used anymore. So this guy goes around and basically takes a drone, pretty sure illegally, up into the air, like on Black Friday, and looks around to see how many parking places are still open or whatever. And basically, long story short, is that they're not even, like you would imagine, they're not using all the parking places, even on Black Friday in 2019, I guess. So yeah, like these parking lots are way too big. And if there's not like a name the store, like how long does it take to take a section of parking lot, turn it into a restaurant or a Blockbuster Video, or something. Takes like a weekend, right? Like a hardworking weekend, and they could have any parking lot turned into anything because it's a fucking parking lot. It's like 99% done already. All they got to do is put the building there. So it's got everything it needs. So why did they not turn all these parking lots into something already? So yeah, now there's this quote unquote plague. MRSA. SARS. Bug flu. Whatever, bat soup flu, and then you have to drive in to the parking lot just like if it was Christmas, and you just blow in this thing just like if it was a breathalyzer. And then he says, "Oh, you can go home." Or he goes, "Oh, could you just pull in over here?" Just like if it was a DUI stop or one of the border patrol checkpoints. Just pull in over here, please. And then they take your car because you're not entitled to your own property once you're a carrier. And then you get taken over to the old garden center. The old garden center is now the FEMA camp. And then they take your car and sell it.
And then they stick you in the oven.
No, you got to work.
Oh.
What they can do is they can make you work in the FEMA center. You can work in the FEMA center with all that gardening material that's all over there in the corner, and you can grow food now that Walmart sells food, you can grow food. And you never even have to talk to regular healthy people. You go around the back, like where the fire lane is in the back. You can go out the back they'll put a fence around there so you can't get away, but they'll put a place where you can walk out the back of the store, walk over to the food section, and then healthy people can take it from you and put it in the food section. It's perfect.
Well, see, but luckily we have people who've been helping us prepare for this, and they gave us a magic code word to use where we just say, "I'm a sovereign citizen," and then they just let you go.
Then you can go into the left lane all the time. It's not red and blue pill. It's like go into the left lane or the right lane. Let's see, with house music in the background. Yes. Now it's some sort of Western music, right? I used to do Monsters, espresso shots, coffee, and Uptime pills all at the same time. You would die. I drink one of those chocolate milk coffee things. It's got all the chemicals in it, and I'm up for like 2 days.
A really good friend of mine was a framer, right? He framed houses. So he worked real hard, swung a big hammer, right? Like physically fit guy. Every single morning he drank a big can of Monster. Every day at lunch he drank a big can of Monster. Every night after work he drank a big can of Monster. So he drank 3 cans of Monster for about 3 years straight every day. And he had a heart attack at the age of like 32. And they said it, like the doctor straight up told him it was because of those energy drinks.
Yeah, I could hear that. I figure I'm old and I drink one every once in a while and I stay up for 3 days. But I don't drink 2 in 3 days. I drink 1 in 3 days.
Oh, sometimes what I do is I drink like half of one kind of, and then I put it in the fridge and then come back at it like 4 or 5 hours later. Like that's what I mostly do, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have a hard time trying drinking one at one time. Like
if I'm like driving or something, I do that. Yeah, I can feel my heart rate being weird, and I can tell it's not good for you.
Yeah, no, I don't like to drink. I like to just kind of sip on them a little and then put them in the fridge. Come back later.
I've tried to shift from sweets to savory. That's probably a good idea. There's a lot more than the 2, though. You can go to like a Chinese place or a Mexican place or probably Indian place. I don't know, probably Europe. They eat weird bugs and snails and shit. But every place else has weird like plants that you can eat that aren't gross. But they have flavors that I'm still finding flavors. I don't like them usually, but I'm still finding flavors that definitely aren't sweet and they're not I wouldn't consider them savory. And they're not like sour either. They're weird. But probably better to not always have a sweet tooth, right? Bang has its influencers.
Yeah, that's a good word for them. Influencers. social media influencers. Yeah, but they're I guess some of those influencers are 2A people. I don't know if Bang is or not, but they 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 have a couple of those social media 2A girls influencers working for them.
Also, heart disease, you're saying it's genetic, but heart disease can also be transmitted in the air, just like the light beer virus. So you can get it by breathing on somebody, breathing your heart disease on both. Heart disease can last for like 12 hours on metal surfaces at room temperature.
When's the next time you're gonna have a 50 BMG chat about like different projectiles and stuff?
I think a real good question. Anytime. I can't say that. I need to get back on my feet. Really, I've obviously I had shut down gun channels, right? So that's an effort to try to get shit together. I don't know how to say it. I've got most of it, I think, under control. I'm still like a mortgage behind, like I'm one mortgage behind, but I've got a shit ton of stuff to sell. So basically, I'm working on stacking. So I'm 60 something videos out, but I'd like to get a couple more videos out so that, just whenever. I'm not used to doing it this way. So whenever I'm done, I can leave the gun stuff around for a while. I'll do the daily gun show, but I'll be done with gun stuff for a while. Then I'll dig into some other stuff. And whenever I come back, whenever I'm satisfied with that and come back to gun stuff, I should be able to like breathe for a second and actually dig into something. And that's definitely one of the things I'd like to dig into. So without putting the cart before the horse, you're talking about too many things that would be considered Patreon only in a live conversation. Projectiles, there's certainly something that, like I say, I've got this big list of stuff I'd like to do. It's right at the top, man. And anyway, for lots of reasons, I guess, now that I'm start talking about it and thinking about all the different things, there's like 6 different ways. So without alluding to any of that and giving away any more Patreon only secrets, let's say, I did talk to the people at the 50 BMG Shooting Society, I think it's called. Or the
Yes.
50 BMG
Yeah.
Shooters at SHOT Show.
Mhm.
Did I post that video already?
What's that?
Did I already post that video?
I don't think so. I haven't seen it, but I know who they are. Yeah.
Well, I could just show it to you. So I made that video, but I'm, like I say, 60 videos out. I have no idea when that video goes. So I'll just go grab it. But anyway, I talked to them a little bit and he gave me a projectile. So that's one of the reasons I want to, and we're talking type at the same time, that's one of the reasons I'd like to talk about it, because he was nice enough to get, I basically stole it from him. I was like, look, dude, I'm a big dude on the internet. I'm the biggest dude on the internet in this building. Like, why didn't you give me the, I gave him all kinds of shit until he gave me that damn projectile. So is this the video? I think this is the video. So I would like to do something about it. But the problem is, I don't know much about the thing. So this is a preview to a video that'll happen in the future. So fuck, is there's no sound?
2020, and we're talking to Brett about
There we
the
go.
50 Caliber Shooters Association. Brett, what's this all about?
We're a sporting club that promotes the sporting use of 50 BMG cartridges at 1,000-yard tournaments and 600. We also sponsor the King of 2 Mile. And so we've brought some of our rifles here to display, some of the projectiles that we experiment with. The ones that you're looking at the table are...
It's kind of a cool shape.
Yes, it's a semi-corkscrew that dates back to 1970 when the military was working on better ballistics.
And it's a solid brass.
Yes. And so I thought it was kind of a neat concept. So I've been playing with trying to reproduce it for bullets to see if they will actually perform as they were hoped to.
Right on. Now I'm a BMG guy, so I saw these on the table, and I'd never seen them before. So this is my first question was, if went through my mind, is this for to disperse an energy when it hits, or was it for trajectory? You said this is for
Trajectory.
performance ballistic
Stabilization.
Just back in the 70s, they really didn't have the machinery to produce them at a cost-effective rate.
And exactly. So for military, it's more like it balances if it's able to be produced, not just if it's effective. And for sporting or for competition, now you're able to harness. Does it actually perform better then?
I've only made a small handful for competition, and actually I lost about 12 inches of elevation at 1,000 yards
But I'm sure everything takes a little tuning in and figuring it out.
yes, it does.
Right on. So if people wanted to learn more about the 50 Caliber Shoot Association,
The website is fcsa.org.
awesome. And I appreciate you said I could grab one of these, which isn't normally done, but I could grab one for my collection. I really do appreciate that,
Yes,
Brett.
I only have a handful.
Thanks again, and thanks for the info on the club. I did not know about it. We'll be adding it to our list, and if anybody has any questions, you can ask us in the comments on this video, or you can contact the organization directly.
Yes, yeah, we have matches across the United States. We'd love to have people come out and shoot.
Let me ask a question, so I got it on video. When did the organization start?
That's probably about
Just a year. I mean,
we're pushing 30 plus years.
Okay.
We've been around.
and then do you know who started it or what?
Skip Talbert was the founder.
Okay, and because one of the things I like to do is archive the organizations and where they came from. Too often organizations don't either think, decide to put up their own about us or our history. So I'm trying to archive that. So I appreciate the info and the origins. Was it frustration with other competition shooting, or was it people that were manufacturing? What was the origin of the, do you know?
He was an ex-sniper, and I think he just wished to push the limits for distance.
Where competition shooting is often maybe one stage is long, or it's not long distance, right?
Well, at the time that they started, 30 plus years ago, they could not put 5 on a 6-foot target at 1,000 yards.
Okay.
And today, if you wanted to set a record, you would probably have to be well under 2 inches for a 5-shot group at 1,000 yards.
That's amazing. Start thinking about that with this projectile at 1,000 yards, and then now, and I didn't even think that there wasn't a Barrett 30 years ago. So that was bolt guns that were wild, or it's not Wildcat, it's just custom bolt guns.
It was custom bolt guns. Primarily, they started out with the old machine gun barrels and built actions to accommodate them.
Now, normally, from what I understand, the machine gun barrels would have been like shot out aircraft barrels, or do you go straight to the manufacturer and get like a brand new one or something?
I believe they were able to find brand new ones.
Okay.
Where, I don't know.
Maybe there was even surplus brand new, I imagine, after the wars. Again, Brett, I really appreciate all the info, and thanks. And again, anybody has any questions, let the association know or let us know in the comments. We'll do our best to answer for you. Have a great show. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day.
Yeah, so like I say, he gave me that. I don't know what to call it. Is there a name?
That's
for it?
awesome. I think that was for stabilization to keep it spinning at long distances. That's what I would assume those flutes were for. Just to try and get better accuracy at longer range, to try and keep that bullet stabilized, and probably a slower twist barrel they were using back then too. That's really neat. Yeah, those guys are a wealth of information. There's if you want to get into reloading, there's lots of places. Like every gun forum has reloading talk on it, and there's caliber specific forums, like for just one caliber. Like that whole forum is just pretty much dedicated to a single caliber. And those forums exist in like all basic calibers. And, but for 50, it's hard. Like there's not a lot of people who reload for it or even shoot it, or it's far and few between. There's some real friendly guys and good info on that site. Without that site, it'd be almost impossible to try and start out on your own.
Are you talking about the Reloading Network or different?
The 50 Cal Shooters Association.
Oh, okay. So you're a member of that one?
Yeah, I'm over there on that forum, and like that's where I've gotten a lot of my advice. Like the direction I went with my reloading setup and everything, a lot of that came from the advice from those guys over there. So
Okay. And then they're national, or are they in one area?
what's that?
Is that national, or is that like a group of guys in one area?
It's a forum. I just belong to the forum.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's guys all over. There's guys even in different countries. Like there's a guy in Australia.
So these guys are talking about Pink is saying that people were stealing the toilet paper out of their public bathroom, which obviously, right, we were talking about that. But that made me think, like, if you go to like a stadium or something, or like an arena or someplace that's like, like with a big giant thing of bathrooms, that would be the place to go right now, right? Grab a bunch of their, especially like something like a state fairgrounds where the toilet paper is not like locked up in a fancy plastic thing. It's just sticking on like some kind of,
Yeah,
metal.
until someone coughs and there's a stampede.
No, I'm saying when it's empty, like on a Thursday. These kind of things are only being used on the weekends. You go there like on a Thursday when it's empty and like pull up and grab like probably 3 cases of toilet paper, just run it through the stalls and grab it on the toilet paper. Oh, a hotel. Oh, think about a hotel. That's interesting because they usually are going to have a room, right, with a bunch of toilet paper and stuff in it. What's happening there? And they got to keep toilet paper around for the rooms, right? Oh man, that's got to be interesting. What's happening in hotels right now? I never thought about that. Yeah, exactly. Just forget about the gun control that keeps getting passed. All right, well, so yeah, it's frustrating because it's tough to plan when everybody's freaking and everybody seems to be just enjoying the freak out, right? Focusing on it, and as more people discover it, you have to bring it up again. Like I would have not probably talked about it today if I could have helped it. I planned on just getting up and trudging through. I noticed a couple of people. Noticed a couple of people on Instagram yesterday. KD, Maj, well, for a minute there, Wanamaker. A couple of places had said we're going to keep business as usual. We're going to, like I just showed you before on the Instagram feed here, Shoot Smart in Texas, the place in Colorado, the gun shop here in Tucson, all posted, business as usual. I think AZ Arms in Phoenix also, or Chandler, whatever, all posted that they're going to stay open. And I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I was just going to get on today and, business as usual, do Free Patch Friday or whatever. But when I've got people in real life saying, hey, is there, what's up? You basically coming to me because I'm looking at the internet more than they do, asking me my impression or my finger or whatever on the pulse, like where I think the thing's going. So that makes me think, okay, I'm going to have to talk about it. But yeah, we got shit like this happening. And this shit just drives me nuts. This chick comes from Arizona. She lived in Texas. She comes over to Arizona. Her family owned a tire place here. And I may or may not be getting this mixed up, but from what I understand back in the day, because remember, this was like 2011. This wasn't yesterday anymore. She had inherited the tire company from her parents and ran it into the ground, like did not run it well, and then decided to go into politics, and then was a failed politician, was about to be not in office anymore, and then the guy tried to murder her, and that happened here in Tucson. And then, of course, she's, I guess, back. I don't know if I don't know enough to know if she's being exploited as someone who's, been tragically hurt and is now being exploited, or if she's got in 100% control of her whatever will and is seriously on this campaign. But either way, she's now become, some sort of what do you call it when someone intentionally decides to use their own situation to their advantage as a leverage, as a manipulative tool, something that she didn't create, but she's now acting as though she achieved something by it happening to her, right? I don't understand this whole concept, but this is a thing. And if she's going to be, if she is a credible, what do you call it? Like, what's the word? Like, endorsement for Biden, that's putting two things out there that are questionable, and we're ignoring it. Look, we spent 2 hours talking. Well, we didn't spend 2 hours talking about all that plague, but for a while there, we talked about the plague, and we're missing stuff like this for sure. What drives me nuts is all the gun shows that are not happening, and like hidden hidden hideouts, the people that cut the books up and turn them into book safes. The ones that posted the thing about the gun show being empty. Let me go back. They will this open in a new window? What was that noise? Oh, that's on your end. Anyway, they created a new clock thing, like a clock that opens up and holds a gun behind it. And they've been posting on their Instagram about the creation of these things, when they first created the concept, and then they have them like, parts of it lasered, and then they've been assembling them and, all these different portions. And I guess this was the big show that they go to where they anticipated getting a payoff for all this effort and investment in time and resource. There's Mike. And then the show's empty. It's canceled. And think about that. Like, that's a little small business that just took the massive kick in the nuts. And that sucks. So, let's not overshadow that kind of stuff, I guess. Here's Sportsman's Guide. Sportsman's Guide is easy to remember because they're orange. Sportsman's Warehouse is green. Well, their Canadian one is all green. Do you pay attention to Ruger?
Ruger guy in Warwick, Rhode Island.
You ever follow the Ruger Instagram?
Yeah.
I've been following this. I don't know if they stole this from me, but it bothers me that Ruger is in Arizona and they've got a guy driving around looking at gun shops.
Outdoor Lodge. They're having a Ruger Day Saturday, March 14th. Come on down, check it out. See ya. Hey,
See, that's their bullshit like post or whatever. Like, I like the concept. I mean, I don't have a problem with Ruger. There's like 6 or 8 Rugers I'd like to own. Most of them I'm not a big fan. I don't, they'd make different guns than I'm a big fan of, but whatever, right? I'm a fan of the company for the most part. But look, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's more than that, I thought. Maybe I'm crazy. I thought there was more than 4. But they've been driving around, and that's about what he does. He just goes, hey, we're here in this town. No, I don't really care because this guy is the guy who works for Ruger, and he's, going around and doing all this, and they just happen to be doing it. But I like the concept. I just wish that they'd kick in and let kick into my Patreon maybe, and then send me out there to do some real reviews. But I really don't, because I don't want to be beholden to go to their Ruger events. But I do like the idea that they're trying to feature shops, but they do it in such a weak way. They don't have a link to the shop. They do link to the shop here, so I'll shut up about that. They link to the shop in the location part of Instagram, but they didn't link to the shop. Like, if the shop has an Instagram, we don't know. It's not linked in the thing. So that part of it's like, yeah, you're promoting yourself, Ruger, and you're letting people know you're there, but you could easily be promoting the shop. Like, ask them what their freaking Instagram is and tag them. Okay, they're talking about ammo. We should talk about ammo here for a second. Oh, did you guys see that Wiener Pit one? I don't remember whose post that was. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone saying Creedmoor about the viable caliber. I remember them saying about the Grendel, but the Creedmoor was kind of like Hornady's baby, right? And they took like a long time to develop that and to put that out there. And it was at like matches, like I think a couple years before it was ever even like out at the public. It was competing in matches, and they were getting back real world data, and like they took their time with that. Like everything I've read about the Creedmoor was like right from the get go. It was like just the thing to go to. That BDC you can get on some of those bullets of like 6.54 and stuff, and like 6.71 and BDC, like it's just crazy for a 6.5, like just being able to stay supersonic out past 1,400 yards and just it is a fantastic ballistic ballistically, it's fantastic.
This thing's kind of cool. This is another place that I follow that just sews stuff. And he started out as just some guy sewing vests for like photographers and ham radio guys and stuff. And then sort of has expanded, and now he's sewing this thing. I thought seems pretty clever for like weighting down a tripod, but then also being able to stuff some stuff into it instead of just being a waste of time sandbag or something. Like use it as an actual back or something.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's got more here. Oh, they're just showing it being used, I guess. If you ever get down to Tulsa, definitely check out that Wool Rock. It's pretty awesome. That was the biggest letdown. And they didn't close the Big Sandy because of the stupid virus. They closed Big Sandy because it's raining up there. So they weren't even going to close it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a fear thing. It just happens to also be freaking raining up there, and they can't, I guess this makes it look.
They don't want all the guns, all those old machine guns rusting, and I don't blame them at all, dude. I want an MG42 out in the rain.
It's just the road right here. This is when it's like, when it's this level, we all cross it. But when it floods, it's more like up here, and it's more like, feet of water. Nothing. Maybe a Humvee's getting through it, but nothing else is getting through it. So today is K9 Veterans Day. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but this was the date that they started the K9 Corps. The U.S. It wasn't anything. It was just the U.S. K9 Corps. It was back before there was branches, I guess. So everything was kind of technically Army still. So it was a bunch of regular people that decided that their love of dogs and their ability to train dogs might be useful, and like the skills of dogs might be useful to the war effort. So a bunch of people gathered 100 dogs, and they called it, what was it called? Operation Dogs for Defense or something like that. Or it was called Dogs for Defense. Operation had nothing to do with it. It was called Dogs for Defense. They got 100 dogs together, and they started training them. The Defense Department said, okay, this is viable. And I guess by the time they were in full scale, 1,800 dogs patrolled our coastlines. Over 3,000 dogs went to the Coast Guard alone. So think about how many people are involved for 3,000 house pets. Dogs that lived in somebody's house one day, got donated to the war effort, and then 3,000 of them go to the Coast Guard alone. We know that they went to the Marines and the Army and everybody else too. So there was a whole thing that I read about dogs that were taken down to the islands in the Gulf of Mexico, and they would find some little island like in Louisiana, so it was gross and like a jungle, and they would get a bunch of Chinese guys that were in the Army, or Japanese guys that were in the Army, and have them start eating a bunch of like whatever people eat in Japan at the time, and then they would be out on this island hiding, and they'd send dogs out and be all kinds of mean to the dogs, but like horrible mean to the dogs, so that the dogs would kill those dudes. They wouldn't kill the dudes, but they would attack these dudes, so that when they brought them over to the islands, these were killer dogs. They would go out and kill people. So they did those kind of stuff. There was all kinds of stuff going on back then. But anyway, so there's a lot going on. There was a lot to read, a lot to dig into. I started doing I do try to do these videos on a daily basis to kind of start archiving our history and that kind of thing, part of the 2A history project. And I had the K9 Veterans Day in there for a long time, but my question was, where did it come from? Like, when did we start K9 Veterans Day? I usually like to put them in the calendar on the date that they were, not just the day that the holiday is observed, but also note that the date that they were created, that they came into existence, that someone asked for it to be a thing and it was approved, right? And that turned out to be 2009. And the story there, I talked about it earlier in the show, the story there is a canine handler from Vietnam brought it up. So anyway, I thought that was neat, and it was an opportunity to dig in. I ended up adding the thing about, I put it in here? I must put it in the stuff here. maybe not, but there was that thing that Clinton did that made it so they didn't start putting down the dogs anymore. And I was able to add all that stuff to the calendar as well. So anyway, it was neat, and I really like that. The fact that I never realized that Canine Veterans Day, while it's a national holiday, it's not the national holiday like the banks are closed, but it's not recognized by every state. It's only recognized by 11 states. So often people are looking for something to champion or something to make people aware of. So consider. I don't know what the 11 states are. I only know that New Jersey was the first one, and that Florida, West Virginia, and Michigan, from my research, are part of them. But there's some other states. Then there's a whole mess of states that don't observe it. So if it's something you want us to write a letter or something, let people know about, I'm sure that there might be something there. Lots of friends who've been talking about picking up firearms. And that's the thing. I mean, Red Horse, you've been around for enough of these, I don't want to call them scares, but enough of these causes for concern where people, there's either scarcity or implied problem or, strife or something. So people start to, let's say, panic buy. And it's an opportunity, right? Like, that's the frustrating part, is when everybody just panic buys and everybody just talks about what it's like, observing what's happening. No one's taking it as an opportunity, but it's an opportunity to buy stocks, right? When the market drops. But it's also an opportunity when these people are on their own volition interested in firearms. Right? Like, if you tried to talk to these people about firearms 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday, they'd have been like, ugh, and their eyes would have rolled back, and they would have said, hey, let's play something else on Xbox or whatever they say. You know what I mean? Like, now when people are like, hey, what do you know about guns? Or aren't you a gun guy? This is an opportunity, right?
Well, I think a lot of people realistically just needed something to push them over the edge, right? To be buying ammo and guns and stuff right now. So chances are it's not like they were just started thinking about it this week. I bet you they've been like thinking about it for 6 months ago, a year ago, for years maybe. And this is just like that little thing, that final little kick in the butt to get them to, be like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the gun store today or whatever. Some people just need that little extra, push.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's the thing, like, just that insight right there, knowing that, having stuff up there with keeping that in mind, posting something like a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever, even next week, really, posting something that appeals to someone who is potentially interested but has never been interested. So they're not like, they don't need to be sold, right? They don't need to be convinced. They just want to know. That's actually interesting, because so often if we're talking to somebody who's a novice, sometimes we'll also convince, or we'll also try to try to do something else. Well, maybe we don't need to, and maybe we're wasting our time or talking down to them. Maybe they find that offensive. I like that. So if anything, maybe we can consider that kind of stuff as content creators. Hopefully there's still content creators. I don't know, 8 people are listening to this. Let me know if you're content creators or not. I think the content creators are asleep. But yeah, that would be an interesting project, is to make a series of videos talking about the same basic subjects, but focusing those or making those appeal to different groups. That would be interesting. I'm not going to do it, but that might be interesting for somebody who's interested in making how-to videos, or like welcome to guns type of introduction videos. That would be an interesting project. So you're talking about a World War I dog that saved a bunch of troops. I don't know about all that, but I do know that Sergeant Stubby was our first official war dog, I guess, for whatever reason, even though we had a Civil War and all kinds of other battles and wars before that. They call Sergeant Stubby our first war dog, and he was the mascot of the 101st. He comes from Kansas, if I remember right. Does it say in here where he comes from? But he was found, or was he from New Jersey? He might be from New Jersey. But anyway, he was just found wandering around. He was described as a contemptuous Boston Terrier or American Bull Terrier, but you can tell by looking at him, he ain't a fucking Boston Terrier. Wait a minute, is he a Boston Terrier? I thought he was way bigger than this. Dang, he kind of does look like a Boston Terrier. Anyway, I thought he was way bigger than that because this is the picture I've seen of him, and he seemed bigger. But anyhow, described as a bull, mutt, describing him as a dog of uncertain breed. Some chick wrote that the brindle pattern pup probably owned at least some of his parentage to the evolving family of Boston Terriers, a breed so new that even its name was in flux at the time. So he was maybe one of the first Boston Terriers. That's pretty cool. So he was found walking around the grounds of Yale in Connecticut. Sorry, he's from Connecticut in 1917, right? So some members of the 101st Infantry were training there, and they decided to take him. So they take him, and they left, and they snuck him on the boat, and they went over there. Anyway, so he served with the 101st for 8 months. He went into 4 offenses, 17 battles. He entered combat in 1918 in France, I guess, and then was under constant fire day and night for over a month. This little puppy. He got wounded and lost a leg from some fucking German throwing a hand grenade at him. He was sent to the rear to get better and came back up to the front. He got 2 stripes for being wounded. He got mustard gassed. Let's see. He would send him out on, let's see, so in his first year of battle, Stubby was injured by mustard gas. After he recovered, he returned with a specially designed gas mask to protect him. Then he would go out and warn he was able to warn his unit of the poison gas attacks and then be able to locate wounded soldiers in that no man's land, since he could hear the whine of incoming the shells before the humans. So he became adept at alerting his unit when to duck. So he was keeping people alive. Then he caught a German spy by himself, which led to the commander nominating Stubby for sergeant. Then when they retook some town by the U.S., the ladies of the town made Stubby a coat, which he could put all his medals on. And he was injured again. And then he got smuggled home. Pretty cool. And then whatever, he died in 1921, I think. 1926, sorry. And then it's super gross. They stuck him on a plaster cast, and he's in the Smithsonian, so that part's gross. But all the beginning part is pretty cool. Stubby is one of the ones I looked at, but the problem is I was trying to find like when he was born and stuff. Oh, good, I do have his death. Oh shit, it's the 16th. Good, I can still put that in the calendar. Boom, we just added another calendar thing. Dang, so I was looking for this and I couldn't find it, so I guess I didn't look very hard. I was looking on different websites. I didn't even think to go to Wikipedia, no. So yeah, cool, we'll put him in the calendar. But yeah, I started digging into a couple. There's a couple of stories that are pretty interesting of war dogs. You ever heard of Stubby? Sergeant Stubby?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard of him before.
I've heard of him. I've heard of a couple other war dogs too from like World War I and II that did stuff, or mascots or whatever. But it turns out they've got their own rank. Well, they get rank. It's our rank, but they get it. But then they have their own medals. Like there's medals for dogs and horses and stuff. Oh, you're saying her brother, cousin want her to take a class, right on, like a CCW class? And what part of the country are you in? There's some amazing stuff nowadays if she wants to take like an all-chick class, or if she wants to get like, an introduction to the gun, like a familiarization type of thing, like a hands-on, like take it apart, put it back together, know how it works. People learn differently, right? So that you can definitely take a look at the style or the type of classes in the area. But use Chow Chows for anti-mine. They did a thing, the fucking Germans did a thing where they would stick a magnetic mine to a dog and then teach the dog to run out and stand up underneath the tanks and then blow it up like a bunch of fucking Germans. They did that. We probably did crazy shit like that too, though. Russians use dogs, so maybe then too. See the pics of troops jumping out of planes? That's what I wanted to do. I went into the Army in order to be a K-9 airborne MP, but didn't. Turns out you can't just ask for that job, at least not in the 80s. But that's pretty neat, yeah. They do all kinds of stuff. They'll jump out and look for bad guys. They'll jump out and keep prisoners of war. They'll jump out and do all kinds of neat stuff. Nowadays, bomb, IED stuff. Dogs jump all the time. There's probably dogs out there with more hours in the air than other people have done stuff. Though we were talking about a story last night about a tiger that stepped on a landmine, and then a baby tiger was found by some MACSOG, the guys that started special operations back in Vietnam. So they were doing all the stuff nobody's supposed to talk about, and they were up somewhere, found this baby tiger next to the mom that stepped on a mine and brought it home. It was their mascot for a long time, and that's an interesting story you might want to dig into sometime. Trained rats find them? What are they talking about now? Yeah, there is a dog that chased down. There's a dog that chased down, what's his face? Hussein. There was a dog in, or no, Obama. Osama bin Laden. I mean, Obama has a dog too, but that's a totally different kind of dog. All right. Well, we're at 222. So I am going to stick Sergeant Stubby into the calendar, though. So I'm going to do that right now. So let's see. First, I got to find the calendar. There. New event. So let's see, we'll call him a famous people? No. I guess we will call him a famous people. Not really a military. We'll call him a famous people. And then, how old was he? He was 10 years old. And we can stick him in here and then go like this. And I can make the rest of the posts later, but now I got it in here at least. And then we go down here to all day and make it, so that'll be Monday. So if anybody wants to have their puppy on the head extra special on Monday for Sergeant Stubby. Do a cartoon of Sergeant Stubby, maybe. Did Obama's dog bite the camera microphone? I don't remember that. So beginning class, Washington, she knows some from me, but her family knows nothing. Well, you can't teach your chick. You're never supposed to teach your chick, right? So you always want to have her go so that she can go learn it by herself and she can teach you. But it's never a good idea to try to teach somebody you know unless you're, even when you know them, you're either going to be too familiar and miss stuff or you're going to be a dick and piss people off. So it's always better to let somebody go
Have
learn.
her take a class. Yeah, don't teach her. Like, it's, trust me, like, yeah, you just pay someone else to do it. For real.
There's too many assumptions. You might assume somebody knows something or they assume you are thinking something else. And it's just, it can just be tough. So I wouldn't do it. It's not like math, in other words, where, you know, if everybody comes to the same answer, everybody's fine. There's too many subtleties, right? So I definitely recommend.
Think about it this way. Not everyone can teach. And when you go to a professional that's a teacher, that's what they do. How many classes have they taught? Like they have a rhythm down and they know what works and what the students retain because those students come back for later classes, right? So they figure out like they get real good at their job, you know? So like they're professionals, right? That's what they're supposed to be, is good at their job. So like they're a trained, like an actual trainer is just going to be the best choice. It is for everything. CCW or first aid or any of that stuff. It doesn't matter how much you know. You can know more than the trainer, but just pay for the trainer.
At saying was recent vet. That's pretty cool. I was thinking about that, but I couldn't get one. I didn't know anybody to get it through or whatever. I know a guy who's got a dog that is a Malinois or whatever they're called. Pretty neat. I didn't want a hairy dog either, so I was not super looking into it because they don't use Dobermans. If they'd use Dobermans, I would have a certain a veteran Doberman right now. But since they use mostly German Shepherd dogs, I was like, nah. And then now I got this German Shepherd Shetty dog, and I'm like, I should have just got a war dog. I got some girl dog. Oh, you're just kidding. But I do know people that got those kind. And the thing is, like I say, sometimes the handlers that had the dogs aren't available, aren't there, don't want, are still in service, whatever, can't take the dog. And the dogs get retired out or whatever. So there are definitely dogs like that are out there living their lives, having fun. All right, well, so we dug through a bunch of Instagrams and talked about a bunch of different things. Looks like our Wildcats, this is the shooting team for the college, University of Arizona here in Tucson. And we finally got to meet those guys up at SHOT Show. Took us, we had to go meet in Vegas, even though they keep shooting like a mile from my house. I just never got out there to see them shoot yet. But not only are they a shooting team, but they also hold the first shots, that NRA first shots event for like we were just talking about, like a basic orientation, like here's what a gun is and how it works, and now you can go home if that's all you're comfortable with, or if you'd like to, we're going to go out to the range now. So they kind of do a 2-step orientation and familiarization type of thing. They offer that here in town to anybody, kids and adults, people in the school, I suppose. Anyway, I think they're out at Talladega shooting in some sort of CMP marksmanship thing. So it looks like there's a couple of different teams there. I listened to an interesting thing on Ryan Shotgun with Charlie Pincus's interview from the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Phoenix last year. It was pretty interesting. I don't know when he posted it. I just barely listened to it the other day, though. This was sad to see. You ever think you'll be able to get down to Wanamaker's, Dead Horse?
I don't know. I'll just have to see how the summer goes and stuff.
Well, it's the April one.
Oh, yeah, not the April one. I was thinking the September one or whatever. It's probably the one.
So then this is the Titan Missile Museum, a portion of the PM Air and Space Museum. So this was one of the 18 Titan II 40 megaton intercontinental ballistic missile silos here in Tucson. So there's 9 of them on the South Squadron and 9 of them on the North Squadron. This was the command center for the South Squadron, and it happens to be on the highway that goes between Tucson and Nogales, Mexico. So it's about halfway. It's about, if you take the distance, the hour-long drive between Tucson and the international border with Mexico, this is like 20 minutes south. So it's like 1/3 of the way to Mexico. And this was not the farthest south missile. We have a Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile silo that is another 2/3 of the way to Mexico. So there's one that's barely 20 minutes north of the international border with Mexico. And then there's another one that's out there like that too. So we put intercontinental ballistic missile silos like so close to Mexico that you could probably shoot a rifle from the silo into Mexico, like that close to Mexico, like a big rifle, like the 50 we were just talking about. But anyway, so the one of them that's much closer to Tucson stayed open, and in all the SALT talks or whatever it was where they killed them all in the 80s, they left this one be but they killed the roof on it, so you can't close it anymore. You can't open it either. It's like halfway open permanently. And then they left the missile in there, but they cut a hole in the top of the missile. So from space in the 1980s, they could see a hole in a missile on the fucking planet Earth that's like the size of a basketball. So if anybody thinks we weren't pretty high tech back in the 80s, yeah, we could see the hole the size of a basketball from space, and the Russians could, looking at us. Anyway, so we left this missile silo as a piece of history, right? The museum. And up until just recently, you could go all the way down to the bottom and look at the sticker that they left when they filmed Star Trek 4 in that silo. And I guess I've been told that they don't do that whole tour anymore, which kind of sucks. But you can still do the tour, and it's still open. So they were posting today that they don't give a shit about COVID-19. They fucking lived through the Cold War, and they're going to leave their missile silo open. So I think I'm one of the only people that even commented, and I said, thank you. Here's another one about Wanamaker being closed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know anybody named Jackson with an X like that?
Uh-uh.
Not either. But this is neat. This is this place in Illinois, and every day they put up a new name, and that person gets free range time. I think that's just a neat idea for a range, especially when you put out names like Jackson, because that's like one guy shooting for free, and he's smiling ear to ear because he's the only one there that day. Put up a name like John, and everybody shows up, right?
Yeah.
Here's Fear Report. They should call it, instead of calling it Fear Report, they should call it Fear Report. Here's Yankee in his luxury palace, looking at all his fancy snow, custom ordered. He buys all that shit on Amazon for Instagram pictures. Let's see. Always remember that leadership is a privilege. When you're in a leadership role, your influence may affect the trajectories of people's entire careers and often their lives. I don't know what that's all about. Trump, maybe? That's Cheryl Todd. I don't know what that's all about. Next holiday is Cinco de Mayo, sponsored by Corona. Guess that's kind of funny. Centennial Gun Club, another one of the ranges that is not closing. Thank you. And then a whole bunch of Friday the 13th stuff. I never even watched any of those movies, so I don't know which one is Friday the 13th. But I did call this thing Free Patch Friday the 13th. Speaking of that, only 2 people even bought stuff tonight, so I don't see one of them. But Chris, thanks, he's gone already. But if the other person is out there, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Like I say, I'm doing stuff in batches now because it's not working as a gun gig, So we'll keep doing this show as long as possible. But I didn't even bother posting Free Patch Friday stuff today. I didn't figure anybody's going to be thinking 2A. Everybody's thinking TP, right? And there's that one. We already seen this one, so I think with that, we'll wrap it up. This is Warrior Dog Foundation, though, showing some of the pups that they're taking care of now. Oh, there's Salt Lake City. We can end with that. So that's is that one of the guns you looked at when we were over there?
Yeah, the Brugger, the B&T, right?
I know you looked at one of the B&Ts. They all look the same to me, so I don't know if it was that particular one, but you definitely looked at something really similar to this when we were in the shop, actually. Last time I was up in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, it's definitely a bucket list gun.
Kind of neat. I mean, I'd like to pull the trigger on one in full auto because I'd like to see what it's like in full auto, but I don't want a 9mm that big. To me, I like the Mac, the folded metal, the couple of lugs of metal, like it's just 70s. And I just like it. Like this plastic is no fun. I mean, I can see why people look at a Glock and go, bleh, right? Because we all lived that life back in the day, coming from metal guns to the Glocks. This to me looks like it's just no fun out of plastic. It's too easy. I want to see that made out of metal. The top is metal, right? Like that's a folded metal channel.
Yeah.
But the lower part being polymer, it's like a Tech 9. It's like a really, really fancy Tech 9.
Yeah. But that's all like Swedish engineered though, right? Like
Yeah. Well, Swedish engineered to where like our military wants,
yeah.
or at least is considering it. I don't know. It must be better than H&K.
That's from what I hear. They from some people they are. So I don't know. I take that with a grain of salt, but
Yeah.
um,
I guess having the controls, something like, is there more pictures? Something like an AR.
yeah, AMB and
yeah, I guess that kind of stuff has got to make it. But an H&K is AMB. H&Ks were AMB way back in the day. So right.
Maybe not on all the controls, like the bolt release and stuff, and because now you had to slap it on the side, right?
No, you're right. They aren't totally AMB, but they're also 70s. It wasn't a thing yet, really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think I fiddled with it because it's just not even my thing. I mean, I understand that tech is happening and that everything's getting better, but I'm not interested at all. And just nothing about it interests me. So I didn't even bother picking it up. I was more interested in looking at the shop and how they were interacting with Dead Horse. An updated Spectre? I don't remember the Spectre. Tiny bit looking. Oh, MP9. Anyway, we'll leave it with that one tonight. And this was Friday. Again, thanks to a couple people that purchased stuff over at the store today. I got to keep bitching about it because they want to pay the mortgage always wants to get paid or whatever. But eventually we'll get back into something with this show. I don't know. Got Dead Horse around. Bob's been around. Maybe we can get some kind of a thing going. Man, I kind of really want to do it at night, but I don't know. I keep bouncing around with it. We'll see what happens. It'll either happen intentionally or we'll react to whatever's able to be done. But until then, thanks for sticking up late with us and attempting to offer an alternative to the news of the day. Makes it really, 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 really difficult when the entire world's going to panic. But get One Bad Marine on? I would definitely like to. Actually, Dead Horse has a printer. Did you know Marine also? So I was watching the One Bad Marine live stream. Any chance you were watching that?
No, I wasn't.
I assume you would have said something if you were, because you would have said something in the chat, right? But anyway, you know how he's all into 3D printers now. He did a 1 hour stream earlier. I think he kind of helps out with this one company. I don't remember the name. Let me get this to pop up over here. Is the right browser? What's going on? Oh, I have to actually click on the damn thing. So I don't think he'll care if I run his thing real quick. So Machine can, that's something else. Creality, is that the name of a brand of printer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think he works with them to help people tweak and modify and use their things. So
that Creality printer or whatever, that was like an Indiegogo Kickstarter type thing.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually successful, right? And so that was like one of the first successful, like real successful Indiegogos. And they're on like generation 5 or 6 of that machine now. But yeah, it's very user friendly and adaptable and upgradable. Yeah, it's got quite a cult following.
Okay. So he was talking about it and the peak aspects of it and whatever. And then I had asked in there some point, like, how much does if I don't have a printer and I don't know shit about it, like what am I talking to get into one? And he said something like $300, 3 to 5, 3 to 4, whatever he said, for the thing made in or here from the USA or something. But then if I didn't mind waiting and ordered it straight from China, like 175, and then I might have to tweak some shit and like figure it out and I have to actually kind of dial it in. And I was like, well, I don't care about dialing it in. That makes you learn your machine, right? Like as long as there's resource, like somebody like One Bad Marine to help with that, then I don't mind tweaking it. Then I know the machine. I learn how the tool works. Plus I save all that money. So that's got me super interested. So you're saying get them on the show. If I can, like I said, I can't just keep buying stuff on credit cards. I need to pay off credit cards for a while, but I am going to be selling a bunch of stuff. And once I can sell some stuff and get back to where I can do things like that again. I'm definitely interested. I mean, I've already bugged everybody I know with a printer to help me print some things for certain various projects, and it's always, it's an ask. Like people don't have all the time in the world to fuck around with your project. These things don't just print like a printer, right? Like you have to dink with them sometimes and print it 6 times until it comes out right.
Well, unless what you're trying to print is already designed, it's that whole designing and getting the size and shapes and like that is what takes. That can take days and weeks just for a small piece. It really can, especially if you're not good at that and you don't do it all the time. Like I suppose if you did it all the time, you'd probably get really good at it. But just real simple shapes, like I struggle with, and just to like print like a donut shape or something really simple could take me a couple hours just to try and like design it.
Just to get it consistent, right? Like just to have the thing like repeatable or something.
Yeah.
Like I know that it just takes time. You're like, I just need 4 of these things, and like you keep making 3 of them perfect, and one comes out wanky, and you got to do it over again. Because at least from my friends that have them, that's what I figured out. So he went through and he showed some stuff. I'm trying to find that little knife he showed earlier, but I can't find it. Anyway, he showed a bunch of neat stuff. One of them was like a little. That's it, that purple thing right there. But it's sort of like a thing that holds a razor blade. Here it is. And I thought, oh no, that's some plier handles. That's pretty handy too. Here it is. See, but that I'm like, oh, that's super useful. Like, who the hell wouldn't appreciate that? Like, here, I printed this on my printer, and now you can use this razor blade easier. Okay, thanks. Like, that's useful, right?
Yeah.
And then he has a little Millennium Falcon back there, and of course, who the hell wouldn't want a little Millennium Falcon? But I was like, obviously, like I say, this seems like a decent. I don't know what printers he's making these on, but he answered my question, and other people answered that $175, $200 printer, if I get it from China. I guess the idea is that what they were talking about a little bit is that back in the day they were different types, and nowadays, or at least this one, is so cheap and it's user friendly, like you're saying, because the hot end is lightweight, so all the motors are on the edges. Is that the concept? So that this thing can be more elegant when it moves around is probably the idea, right? So it's not trying to move a big weight. You don't get
it uses Arduino motors and like the bed moves on it. Yeah.
So that's I was watching earlier, and so yeah, definitely would have. Hey, look, here's me watching One Bad Marine, being recommended to watch myself, and now watching myself. That's pretty cool. Is there some way I can do this even more? Not really. Because I am technically watching myself watch myself, which will then turn into me watching myself watch myself. So this screen here will tunnel in. I don't know if it's called backwards in time or it's like upwards in time. This will just keep burrowing upwards through time as you keep watching these squares get infinitely smaller on an exponential scale. What's interesting is because I've got your chat right here, everything you say will also be sent back into this infinite time well. So it's sort of like an echo, but the opposite. It's like a sound vortex going backwards infinitely into the internet. So it's like if you could somehow yell backwards, hardware wise, right? Like whatever that is backwards, Ewa Ewadah. It's like if you could yell that backwards through the internet. That's what's happening on this side of this screen right now. And you get this for free. You don't even have to pay for this. This just happens 3 hours into the Daily Gun Show. Not quite on a regular basis, but every once in a while we decide to burrow backwards upwards through the internet in time. All right, I'll quit it before we actually break YouTube.
Yeah, I gotta get going to bed. I gotta be up early in the morning.
All right, well, thanks again for jumping in. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back to pick up later. I just ended it quickly that time.